One, two. Ladies and gentlemen, are you hearing me? Okay. I'm coming to you really cold this afternoon. By this time, my name is Jackie Tyson. Etiquette is number one for my game. By now, you should have your napkins in place on your table. They should be pulled down in how you're going to use them. So pull them down, unravel them, get out your knife and forks and your spoons. Okay? Now that your napkins, okay? Can you just wave? Give me a wave because you're great and fabulous and you're here today. So let me see that napkin wave. Wave that napkin. Congrats. Great, great, great. Now that you've loosened it, your servers are going to be going around and dropping your soup. Now, who hold up the soup spoon? Let me say that you know, not a teaspoon, but a soup spoon. This is a bouillon spoon. You notice it's rounded. There are different kind of soup spoons. So this spoon will tell you that there's nothing in your soup. There may just be a piece of meat or a piece of veg. Technically, there shouldn't really be much in your soup, so you don't have the one with the point. You have the bouillon spoon, which is your soup spoon. All right? So put your napkin. We find 1 point. You're going to put it in your lap. Gentlemen, do not stick it in the neck of your shirt. Ladies with big boobs, do not rest it across. The napkin goes in your lap. From your lap, it touches the sides of your mouth and back. Do not use it to wipe your face. Okay? So there we have it. Folded 1 point. And you just fold it like this, put it in your lap. Okay? No matter how full we are in the midsection, we put it in the lap. Now, as you do your soup, you've given bread. Did you get butter? Okay, then. How do you butter the bread? Let's start. You're going to use your knife, and you've been given a small knife. Here it is. So you're going to open up the butter. You also have a side plate. So when you pull down your napkins, pull down your side plate. The small plate at the top of your floral arrangement, one of them goes to you all, right? And it's going to go on the right-hand side, right? Okay. Then you have your butter. Now, everybody likes butter because it makes things better. So what we're going to do now is break our bread. Do not butter the entire slice of bread. Break off a piece. You've opened your butter. Break off a piece of the bread, a pinch of the butter. You know, very demure, very thoughtful, and in your mouth. Do not soup the soup and push the bread. I mean, I love to do it. I love to even break my bread and put it in the soup. But that's what we do when we're chilling at home. So the butter has a little clip at the end. I always have problems with them. But really and truly, it has a little, one of the corners will fold back. You fold it completely back, so you don't have to keep touching it, right? You take your little knife, take a little pat of the butter, break the bread, one transition, bite. Don't take off more than you can chew and swallow. Again, do not butter the whole slice of bread. Squeeze it, because, you know, we like it like that. And this is a French bread, and it look a little dry. So you feel that you have to butter it and squeeze it. We don't do that. That's what we do at home. You know, like you're eating a nice piece of hard bread, and you butter it, and then you cut it and you squeeze it. No, we don't do that. That's at home. And truly, we're being preparing you for the greater good. What we're doing here today is preparing you to dine internationally in the world. I say to everyone, I live in Jamaica, but I'm a global citizen of the world. Your very social media, your very different connectivities put us to live anywhere we want, put us to meet anywhere we want. As a caterer, sometimes you may not have had that experience. I've had international clients that says, for instance, I know JPS is in the room. I want to have a meeting with the team at JPS. I'm selling them new wires. I want to host a lunch. He's all the way in Chicago, Italy, Germany. I am coming to your office. That's a good idea, right? And I'm going to prepare a lunch, and he's going to go on camera while you're having lunch, just as if he would if you were in the room. So don't knock it. Those things happen. Then immediately he said, Jennifer never just eat the bread because you're so comfortable. You're at your boardroom and you're squeezing the bread and you're doing these things, but you're on camera. So we have to got this is a difference between corporate etiquette dining and how we eat at home. Home is where the heart is. And all of you in here, I'm sure, have siblings, and you have to train them the right way. For me, there's only one way. But you also let them know if you're on the corner, you have to just flex, and this is it. And it's okay to be on the corner sometime. But when you sit down and we're having family dinner, and you can set it, you say, we're going to formal this evening, we're going to cozy casual, we're going to tacos, we're going to sit on cushions on the ground. It is for you to use your creativity because no cuisine is a secret anymore. Tacos is the biggest trending item. Sushi, we don't master it. We learn to use the chopsticks online. And those who don't want, like me, as much as you can, sometimes I can't manage it. I'm going too fast. I just find a way to use my fork. But you still know the process, the dip, the ginger. You know the process. So if you're acquainted yourself with the cuisine, don't say, me nah eat raw fish, me nah bother, because Japanese is not raw fish. One of the things we do as caterers is a ackee and sawfish sushi. A roll. Let me say a roll, because sushi, sashimi are different things. When it's raw, it's called sashimi. And that means that the fish, as they catch it, like conch, they just make it be ready, put it under vinegar, because vinegar is an acid and it cooks, and you eat it, and it's great. But it is an acquired thing. Because in Jamaica, if we don't cook the fish till it dead out, it's not cooked. So you find Chinese, Japanese, the Eastern cuisine is about their culture. And so you have a whole different perception. But at the same time, you can do it at home. Educate all the little ones. Japanese this evening, you get a bowl, you put rice, because that's trending too. You put the sweet and sour chicken, fry up sausage on top, and that's your dinner. But bowls are trending. How you eat from a bowl, whether you're going to use a spoon, whether you're going to use a fork, because bowls are a big thing. Just like tacos. How you eat a taco. Do you squeeze it? No, you have to bite it. It's going to drain. You have to handle yourself. If it's a crispy one, it's going to break. So you make people aware, and you say to them, just like you have your patty and your cocoa bread, instead of a patty, you're going to have a little shell and meat in the middle. So it all varies. And because we are global citizens living in Jamaica, and we have to pop every style. So, okay, you're drinking your soup now. Drink away from you. Do not scoop to you. Do not tilt the bowl to you. Tilt the bowl away. One of the reasons for not tilting to you, can you imagine your girlfriend says something and you laugh and the whole soup's throw away? We don't do that. So we tilt away and keep it simple. You see, when you know you're not at home, where you can't even take the bowl and put to your head, don't bother scrape the bottom of the soup. So you're not for tilt, you're not for do nothing. Keep it simple. Why put yourself through stress? So if there's something in the soup, don't bother take it out. If you find, sometimes you may find a little piece of thyme, a little, vegetable leaf in your soup. You bring your spoon to your mouth, you take your tongue, and you push it on the spoon. Do not spit it. But I said, bring back the spoon to your mouth, you take your tongue, and you simply slide it on. You can use this hand to cover. It comes off. You put it to the side of the plate, the under plate. Do not create a stir. If you see a hair flying, you just calmly said, finished. because these are things, ladies and gentlemen, that happens. And you can speak to a manager about it at the end of the meal. That shows that you're mindful, very thoughtful. Instead of creating a scene, there's a hair in my soup. Oh my God, I can't eat. Remember, you're with a set of people who you need to keep together. And then you don't get, no matter what anybody says, a second chance to make a first impression. When you meet and travel and you meet people, they're going to judge you by your etiquette. How you sit, how you stand, whether you're running them over in the conversation, whether you're listening and asking appropriate questions, whether you eat fast, whether you butter the bread and squeeze it, whether you suck your bones, this bone is really good, you know. So these are just some of the things that we call cute, homely, part of our culture. Who can eat curry goat and don't suck the bone? Or oxtail? Because there isn't even any meat but the bones. You know, so we understand that, and that is part of us that makes us run faster, laugh louder, be more colorful as a Jamaican. We love our bones. It depends on the scene you're in. I know I have clients that love hot soup. And you can ask for it to be remade. But remember now, if you're serving courses, you're going to have to drink that soup when it comes hot very fast because the next course will be on the table. And in a banqueting situation like this, we do a thing called plating. And that's so your soup is probably plated 10 minutes. No disrespect to the chef, but that's the only way we're going to do 500 or 250. And so it may not come to you at the level. And then there's another thing that is very important. Those of you remember that case with Burger King or somebody or Domino's where the client got the drink and it was too hot and he burnt himself. So in the business, the rule of thumb for your public liability is tepid, warm, not hot. If I am doing a gourmet dinner, we have different strategies where we use a kettle, a teapot, and pour the soup and it's really boiling. That is a very big risk. But we do it because we're bougie and it's part of the style and it's a big paying menu. So they want to have a hot soup. So you have to choose the moment. If you really need to bust a gas and want it really hot, or you just don't have room temperature soup, you may ask for a refill, and the waiters or each waitress will accommodate you, but just know that you're going to push down your courses. Okay? And as long as you can catch up, that's fine. Now that by now you should be finishing the soup. Now, your spoon, pay attention, does not stain the bowl. All you have your spoon in the bowl, take it out. Put it by the side of the underliner. There you go. That tells the waiter that you're finished. I am not going to touch that plate unless I really need to clear the table till the soup goes at the base of the bowl. And it is your language that I've complete. Whether you don't finish the bowl of soup or whether you finish. The next thing with this spoon, the other spoon is pointed, so you go this way. With this spoon, you have to do sideways. You don't want to open up your mouth and take the whole spoon. So you go sideways. Now you've finished your soup. So the next thing you're going to do is take your napkin and pat your mouth. Make sure there's no soup that's dripping around. Notice I said pat and not wipe. Pat. Do not clean the face. Just pat. Corners of your mouth very gently around your mouth. And you put back the napkin in your lap. If you need to go to the restroom, the napkin goes right to the side. Remember, the best way to manage napkins is from the middle. So you just always have it at the middle, put it down. But sometimes I see people spending time like they're going to set the table, them folding it. and smoothing it. Don't do that. It's very gentle. So it goes from corners or middle. Corner or the middle. Tap, 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 down. Tap, 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 down. All right? And the table should not be cleared until everybody's finished the soup. Now in banqueting, timelines that go against and the waiters come quickly. So if you are eating slow and everybody done, kind of done, once you say everybody done, you just better done. You just better done. Because everybody at the table is like, you're holding up the flow. I can get a little water. Yeah. So now that you have consumed the butter, the bread, please do not take any butter home. Put the butter back on the plate. Unused or used, they're going to collect it. You know, some people say, oh, I didn't have it, it's my souvenir. A lot of people do that. And ladies, listen, life is so full of fun these days. You know, you do a coffee break outside and you put out teas. We tend to do a variation of teas. Because nowadays, caffeine tea, herb tea, ginger tea, and invariable, people don't even realize they're doing it. They take up the pack of tea and put it in their pocket. They have one, but they take one as a souvenir. It is not a souvenir. You take what is given, one, because believe it or not, you're being watched. And nowadays, some of you will say, so who watching me? Remember, we have cameras everywhere. I ever hear, in the service industry, sometimes you say, oh, we're going to do a group. And they say, no, put out too much tea, they're going to take you away. You know what I mean? And when you look, you set up in service. When we're setting up for 40, we set up for 60. So people can have the opportunity to have 2 cups of tea. But when the people just take it up as souvenir, you look, you say, oh my God. The entire tea station is devastated. Why do you think hotels stop giving you the little packet of sugar? People take it with them. When you go to Chinese restaurants, they used to give you one time, all your toothpicks would be on the table. People don't do that anymore. When you're paying your bill, you get 2 toothpicks because people take it, So, and some people will tell you they pay for it, but you really don't. It's part of hospitality. So what we have to understand, hospitality is not necessarily entitlement. Hospitality is making sure that anything you want, any side of the way you go, we're creating a comfortable atmosphere. Sometimes we give you wet wipes. Sometimes we give you added teas, toothpicks, little things just on your table. That don't mean when you're going, everything goes in the bag. Pass them something, yeah, because the bill big. Because we do it when we're with family, and believe it or not, it becomes your style, and you do it when you're with friends and when you're with business associates. So you have to watch those things because there's a thin line, okay? Now they're coming around with your fruit punch. Technically for sanitation, the paper is left on the top of your straw, right? So you should. And you're given a straw because just ultra sanitation so you don't have to put your mouth on the glass. Now, when COVID was on, we stepped up back the straw thing because sanitization of the glass and blah, blah, blah. And so we went back to putting straw in the drinks so people don't have to put their mouths on the glasses. That's why. But those of us who have gut issues, every slurp from the straw is gas in your belly. So you see the Slurpee cups, I don't know if you don't realize there are more people suffering from bloated bellies, undigestibles, because your Slurpee cup make you suck onto drink, which puts every suck you suck brings air into your stomach. So we're really on a cycle because of style and fashion. So once you understand that, some Slurpee cups is a straight drink and some is a straw. So you have to know what you're doing. And then you say, I don't know why of late every minute I belch. Gas in, gas out. And if you're not belching upwards, you're belching downwards. So, but and then the other thing that puts gas in your system is chewing gum. How many of you knew that? The more you chew, the more gas you swallow. I simply did a course one day, I remember the first time I really zoned into etiquette. The lady said, do you ever see a cow? I said, mm-hmm. We have lots here. She said, you ever look at a cow? So I said, what she said, we look like cow? And she said, watch what the cow does. So I said, sit down and chew. She said, is that a pleasant picture? No. And I never understood till I watched a cow chew. And I realized because she was saying the consistent chewing, after a while, it doesn't get minimal. Like, again. You ever watch people on them phone, at them desk, on that moment of stress? So remember now, what your image is 360 degrees. So if you're going to have a gum to freshen your breath, 3-4 minutes, out. Tell your head, 3 minutes, it's in the garbage bin. Because when you really get pressured and you start chewing, you and the cow have nothing different. So chewing adds gas, and sometimes it's a comfort thing, but it's not necessary to chew all the time. So you have to watch things like that, because some of us get away with it. Some of us, we don't even take one gum, we take 3 and 4. And when it's not gum, it's the little sweeties. Yes, we understand that sometimes you feel nauseous, sometimes you want to freshen up, which you should. Before entering a room as you were watching networking, make sure you have good breath. So you either wash, go to the restroom and sort it out. Because one of the things when you're networking with people is they can smell your breath. They say you should smell it first, lie. Until the next person is close to you. And sometimes people don't hear and they lean like this and there comes your breath right away. So make sure your breath is fresh. And sometimes when you're entering the room or you go to the restroom, chew a gum, spit it out as you leave the guest room so you remain fresh and intact. Don't chew it all the time. So those of you who have gotten your drink, you just simply take off the paper part of the straw. And ladies, these straws have a short lifespan. They are paper because that's the way to go. But the constant touching of the straw is going to demolish. So you see, when the straw gets a certain way, you make a choice. Either you request a secondary or you forget what left. Because after a while, the paper straw gets weak. And you could be pulling and all of a sudden, and there's nothing coming up. So either you're going to just go straight to the glass and you use your napkin and wipe the edge, or you're going to ask for a refill of a straw. But that basically takes away the straw. And if you decide not to use the straw, then right next on your side plate is where that should go. Don't tell the waiter, I don't need a straw. Some people have a way of pointing at things. What is it, I don't need a straw, so the waiter must remove the straw or bring you a new drink, right? Now your water goblets on your tables all came with the cap, which is part of the sanitation process. And this is to keep the rim sanitized. You can, so that's why you have that thing. It's not getting you ready for a toothbrushing scenario, because usually you see them in the bathroom by your toothbrush station. But since COVID, this has become the norm. Like we don't put out glasses unless they're turned downwards or they're covered. Like Pegasus has a big liability. So they have to make sure that they deliver things above and beyond, right? So your entree is coming up. Your entree, it seems to be going to be chicken today. How many? And if it has bones, we shall not eat them in this setting. Usually, with caterers, don't try, and chefs don't try and stress you out. The food has to be made quickly. And remember, 500 plates are not made one time. Because can you imagine when you do a dinner for 5 or 10, it takes you 2 hours. He's doing a lunch for 500. So the opportunity thing would be to do a boneless piece of meat. Because it cooks, and when it goes in the holding cabinets, the heat still goes through the piece of meat. So that is why the menu is designed, because of how the logistics have to go on the floor. Right? So your napkin should be there. I see the waiters coming with the course. And that is why your plate is warm, because your food is in a holding cabinet. When it's plated, the temperature is being held, and that cabinet comes to the back of the room, and then they run in with the plates as they're doing now. Right? So the plate is hot. So once you see them with the napkin, try don't touch the plate. Some will say to you, the plate is hot. Some may, in their exuberance, forget. So always know, once the waiter has a napkin, that means the plate is warm to touch. Right? So as I can see on this plate in front of Miss Philippa, as we said, you have a chicken breast, which is boneless. You have your vegetable, and you have your rice. And they did it so nice for you, they put the rice in a little container. You know, the option here is you can take up the container and spoon out, put the rice on the plate, and put the container on your side plate or put it at the top, because sometimes it's difficult to eat out of the little pretty bowls that come. Or you can leave it, and if you're not a rice person, you know you're going to have one little morsel, right? So the vegetables are nicely done, country style, really nicely done, cooked appropriately, but you're going to need to use your knife and fork. All right, so as you get your meals, please indulge, because we haven't continued the sessions. All right? If you don't eat chicken, just whisper to the waiter. Is it? Let me see how you got. You have 2 knives. The small fork would be for your dessert, and the big knife and fork is going to be for your meal. Yeah, usually is. The knife is on the right, the fork is on the left. If this was being laid out, your dessert would be at the top. Your small knife would have been on your side plate. We will show you on the screen afterwards. And your soup would have been at beside the fork. When we reach for the second session, we have that to bring up to screen. So just sharing that with you. And usually look at the size of your knife and fork. The bigger tools is for the entree. The smaller tools will be for the dessert or a course. You're having 3 courses, and your 3 courses today gave you a starter, which is what we call a starter course, which could be a soup or a salad. Your entree, which is what we call the middle course you're having now, which is the main item. You have your chicken breast, your vegetables, and your rice as your starch. And then you'll have a third course, which is going to be your dessert. So you have 3 courses. Some meals you'll have 11, 12, 10. And they're all proportioned for just a bite. This is healthy because this is lunch. And if we did 6 courses, you'd say, what is that? I'm so hungry. Where's the rest of the food? Because a course is usually just a bite, the bigger you go. So do enjoy. And I'll come back at dessert. now you must have gotten the sweetest part of the meal, which is your dessert. And you've used your small fork, right? Now you would have gotten a tartlet. Now I hope nobody just took up the tartlet and bite, because it looks like you can just take it up like you bite in a pastry shop. Even if it looks like that, you have to force yourself to use your fork. Now it's flaky pastry. Oh, it could give you a little challenge, but once it gives you a challenge, just put the fork down on the plate. Skip. That's one way to get out of challenges. Sometimes things are pretty to look at, and that's a little taste. All of a sudden, oh, I'm reducing my sugar. Sometimes just make a qualified excuse if you find the role to eat it too difficult. Don't fight with the food ever on your plate. You know? So, once you have puff pastry, it's going to break. But you have to really have a firm hand. And you don't have the usage of your fork at this point in time. So sometimes you just have the filling and a little bit of the flake. Just sharing with you, because those are obstacles and challenges that no one tells us about. And there you are. So be careful. Don't get your napkin in the nice red sauce, strawberry sauce. Don't get it there. Don't get it on you. So you've come to the end of the meal. I guess coffee and tea will be optional at this time. And they're big chunks of fruit. So you could just have your fruits and dip it into the sauce, because you have whipped cream on top of it. All right? Right, okay. So we're going to get into the meat of the things. That is my section now that I've taken you through lunch. So we're going to go up. Jamie setting is my assistant, ladies and gentlemen. She's setting the table. So I'm going to go up here where everybody can see. Huh? Oh, she's not setting. She's just reminding me. So I'm going to have all these things. So I'm going to stand by the side so the presentation can roll, okay? Now I say etiquette gives you strategic adaptability that opens doors for you. As discussed before, you're global citizens living right here in Jamaica, and you have to see yourself like that, because you're able to sell, market, share, communicate all over the world where we couldn't before. You may finally get to visit and ignite yourselves. But you have to remember, this little tagline became very popular recently, but it is one of those things that remind us that whether we're male or female, grace is very important. Finesse, it sets you apart. Your behavior, your appearance, how you carry yourself is what helps people to understand you better. Never take it for granted, and do not find excuses. I usually say, stand in front of your mirror, write down the things you like about you, and write down the things you don't like about you. You have enough Google, YouTube, to YouTube the things that you don't like and fix them. You don't want to wear makeup. There was a question before, but you have to be groomed. You decide that you're going ethnic and you're going to wear dreadlocks, but you have to keep it tidy. You've decided to add extensions, but you got to keep them looking good. If they're cheap and chirpy, that means you're going to have to change them out quick and fast. So those are just some of the things. We do not remain the same size, and that's always a problem. Even for me, you think you're the same size as you were 10 years ago, but you're not. And sometimes you have to pay attention to the etiquette, the length of the skirts, the fit of the blouse, the tightness of the pants. All jeans aren't created equal. Just all those things that make you a product. Just like you go in the supermarket and choose one item over the other, the things that draw your attention to one thing or the other, it is how you're viewed. So remember, choices are made how you are viewed. When you meet and you greet people as part of etiquette, you must always stand, regardless of whether you're male or female. Somebody comes in your office, you're at a dinner, you're hosting, always stand up. It's customary. Let them say sit, but always stand up to greet. Maintain eye contact. A lot of us don't look at people. We either don't like to look and we shady, or we stare and look up and down. It's part of our culture. But you must create eye contact that's friendly. Smile. When in doubt, smile. And really find a way. Practice becomes perfect. You must know your great smile. Stand in front of your mirror in the bathroom in your silence. Take your phone. Do your selfies so you know how to smile. You know, this is my good side. This is my bad side. It don't just happen overnight. You know, some people, them say, oh, every picture you take, you look good. It's not that. You just know how to stand to take the picture and how to hold the phone. Whether you do it there, whether you do it up there. So if you're being stand in a group of people at a cocktail party, you know, 1 foot forward, let me drop this hip, pull up my chest so I look like I am in control. It's life. You don't have to go on like you don't know. Everybody have everything for the success at your fingertips. A simple thing as a shaking of the hand. It must be firm. You mustn't crush. Some men like to really crush your hand because they say the power of the person is in the handshake. It can be very light, and all you simply do is just a good shake. Right? Greeting around the world. Now, in Jamaica today, we're blessed. It's a melting pot. The Chinese are here doing so much construction. And not everyone is of any, lower or lesser value. But you must understand, if you ever were introduced to a Chinese person, how you greet. You greet from the waist. You don't just run and hug like how we do. You make a Lord God, long time in a see you. And there must always be, and learn this even for you in corporate Jamaica, you must always be at arm's length away from the person you're greeting. You shouldn't have your boobs, your legs touching the person that you're greeting. So in Japan, it's the handshaking and bowing are accepted forms of greeting. In Europe, there's chups. Now, chups is both cheeks, left and right. Men chups, and they're not gay. Women chups. Sometimes a chups is in the air. Like chups, chups. You don't have to actually kiss the person on the jaw. Right? Be courteous and professional at all times. You need to maintain the same level of professionalism you had as if you work in the office. Be courteous. Do not be noisy. OMG, and the phones and the watching of all the different social media and the noise. Sometimes people walk into your office, and because their phone is not muted, you just hear all kind of drama, gunshot, source gossip. Be very mindful, right? Dressing the part. We don't have enough time to spend on that. Can I go back to the other slide, Jamie? Business attire. We've gotten very lax these days, and we've extended the levels. What is Friday casual? What is jeans day? What is semi-formal? What is casual? What do you wear to an event like this? Remember, at all times, you're wearing two brands. You're branding, you're selling yourself, and then you're selling the corporation that you represent. So if you're the head of a department, you have to dress like the head of a department. It doesn't mean you can't be cute and casual. It means that this jeans probably, and your body shape, that's why it's important to do the plus and the minus. So some people can't wear straight leg jeans. It just don't look good. Some people can wear full legs. Some people can wear the tattered and torn. So it's very important. There are varying levels of business attire, and you get invitations that say smart casual. Now, smart casual don't mean that you come in your cut-off shorts and your Crocs and a t-shirt. That's for another space in time. Business formal don't mean, as you hear the word formal, you're going to go for a tuxedo. It means jacket is a must required. Next. Now, you have to always, when you get a business invitation, you have to follow the dress codes. Try and stay within the line. Casually elegant, that exists in nobody's directory, but we have made it a statement in Jamaica a lot. And casually elegant means that you have on a coordinated outfit. Men, clean slacks, proper shirts, button down. Women, a nice dress, not necessarily revealing and all the way to the back, not necessarily trailing off the shoulder. You have to remember, you do not create accidents for yourself. So whatever you have on, it must be suited to your body type. Not because it looked good, and you saw it on Sheen, you saw it on Style, you saw it on Lemongrass, you went to the boutique and the lady wanted to sell the dress, and she said, this is so great on you. And it just don't look right. So you will be swindled if you don't know your own body type, right? Now, when there's one thing, there's a big event here tomorrow, if any of you are coming. Black tie has no variations. Black tie means elegant dress to the floor and a tuxedo for the men. Not a black tie, a tuxedo. A proper formal. There are different styling in the tuxedos. Some don't require a bow tie, some is a tie, but it means the top of it. So if you're coming to the PSOJ Hall of Fame dinner tomorrow, make sure you understand black tie. Formal to the gown, black tie for men, tuxedo shirt, or a plain shirt, the collar, the satin trim, the seam down the sides, shoes and socks. I don't know where we get this chip and chirpy look where men are in these cut-off pants and no socks. That's great if you're going to a party. But if you're coming to a black tie, you must have on your socks. Your socks is an extension of your shoes. So nobody come in black pants, shoes, and white socks. Not done. It must be an extension of the shoes as it gets formal. So if it's black shoes, it's black socks. If it's blue shoes, it should be navy blue. It could be navy blue socks or black. So get dressed. Those of you who are coming to the dinner tomorrow, and be a knockout. Now, I tell people, because I've had restaurants and I've been in the business a long time, and you understand this when you read and you research. When you're doing most deals with a bank, with doing a conglomeration, with doing any kind of exchange, you seal the deal over a meal. Don't take it for granted. It could be drinks at the person's house. It could be dining at the Pegasus. It could be meeting to start. The deal is sealed over the meal. Once a person who is doing the deal meets you or you meet them, you immediately decide. You know, Jamaica, them say spirit tech. It's not really spirit tech. It's how the etiquette, how the person carries himself makes you want to continue to do the deal. If you're invited somewhere on an invitation, always answer your RSVP. When we event planners are working, we're bad in this country. We don't say coming. Yes, I will attend. And then you turn up with two people because Cousin John staying at your house and you couldn't leave him. That's not to be done. People get invited to a wedding, and then when you set one table, because it's very precise, they pay per plate, they set the table, and then you come with grandma, or you come with Jillian, who is flying in, or you invite your best girlfriend because she wants to come. It's not done. Start when you see your settings on a table. We will have a meal which we'll put up in a little while, but you always start from the silverware outwards, moving in. KISS. Remember I talked about the eating we did a while ago? Keep it simple, simple. Some people say simple, stupid. But everything you do in life, if you keep it KISS, we have it under control. If you are being invited out to eat, don't use it as your opportunity to order the most expensive lobster or the steak on the menu. Stay in the middle lane. Some people, it's improper to go out and all of a sudden you say, oh, I haven't had lobster in a long time. Let me have it. No, stay in the middle line. Order the food how you can eat it. Right? Do not order alcohol on an interview or a first meeting. Wait till everyone is at the table before you start eating. Be gracious to everyone you encounter, including the server. Sometimes people go into restaurants and servers having a bad day, don't know, young in training, make a mistake, and it's one drama. Do not create the dramas, not because you want to prove that you know. You correct the person at the end or make a report when you leave via social media. Be early when you're hosting. So if you decide you're going to entertain, you're traveling, or whatever you're doing, you're going to take somebody out. Do not be late. Set the time and do not give the understandable excuse, traffic. No, it don't work. It's rude to go somewhere and have your guests waiting. So you make sure you know what time you can get there and give yourself half an hour, always for craziness. The host should always be in charge. So if you're hosting, don't allow the guests to take control. You say, okay, this is here, this is a table. Go to the restaurant before, choose your table, get your name so that when you come, everybody says, oh, I'm Mr. Smith. You said, oh, how are you? This way. It doesn't happen like because you're bougie and rich, you know. It happens because you did your prep. You sorted it out before you went there. Stand as your guest is shown to the table if you happen to sit in a restaurant. When your guest's order arrives first, allow your guest to begin. Don't just start eating. If your order arrives first, wait until everybody is served. And the host, whoever is hosting, is the person who pays the tip and pays the bill. Now, you don't have to create uncomfortable situations. We all have credit cards or means of payment. Step aside before the meal is ended so the bill don't even come. All right? Fine dining. Now, what we consider fine dining, if you're in the room tomorrow, we have courses. What you had today was 3 courses. We have courses where, like this menu, is 6 courses. So you're going to get small servings. Look how many forks you'll see when we put up the next gram, how many spoons you'll see, and how many glasses you'll have. Okay, now this is set for a 6-course meal. You see all of this? This is for one person, not the entire table. You have red wine glass, which is usually like this with the belly. You have white wine glass. You have champagne flute. You have a sherry glass, which can be this cognac one here, which is used for sherry and cognac. And then you have your bread and butter plate is 5 and 6. Your dessert is 7 and 8. And then your courses start with salad fork. You could have a pasta course, your entree. And this funny knife here is not the butter knife. It is a fish knife. Now, your fish knife and fish fork is very different. Your fish fork only has 3 tines, 3 teeth as we would call them in Jamaica, but they're really tines. And this is your fish knife, and this is your butter knife. Proper butter knife, it has a little hook at the top, so you could spread. But your fish knife is used where you slide under, because remember, fish is flaky. You slide under the flakes, and you put your fish onto the fork. Because it's very easy to cut up fish. Haven't you tried? it mash up. So you use this as like as a ladle and put it on the fork and then eat. Okay. Oh. And then you go down, you have your steak knife would be also a different knife with a sharper edge. You see 17 would probably go with 2 because when you do pasta, Jamie, when you do pasta, you have a spoon and a fork. Do not take your knife and fork and cut up noodles. I see too many of us do it. It's not our culture, you know. But we have to learn it. So I'm going to ask Jamie to just give me some noodles. You use a spoon and a fork. Some of you know, some of you won't know. All I have in here is some, okay. It's some very, what you'd call in the pasta world, some fettuccine. Now, all you simply do with the spoon is put it in. You just separate your pasta like this, and you twirl, right? If some drop off, just make it go on. No hurry, and then you eat. You do not take the knife and fork and cut it up and get little pieces. Spoon and fork. It's something you have to practice. So if you go home and cook spaghetti or fettuccine, are you doing meatballs, are you doing corned beef, or are you doing saltfish? You just pull out your phone and spot because that's how you rest now. You are internationally acclaimed. So you know everything. Right? The next, okay. Okay, if you happen to have to open your home or you have to create a setting at the office, these are the steps if you're putting an event together. You have to use a guest list. From your guest list, you design your invitation. The invitation should reflect the standard or nature. Black tie if it's black tie, casual flowers on it if it's something you're going to sit outdoor, if it's just having nibbles. Then you plan your menu. Plan your menu according to the budget you've been given so you don't go too high or too low. In doing the drinks, you serve appropriate beverage, beers, wines, champagne. And in serving wines, make sure you have, if you don't know wines, you have an average red, an average white, and today you must have a bubbly, which is like a Prosecco. For cocktail events and gathering, dress well. Say you're going out after TGIF, somewhere for Friday after that. Make sure your casual attire is smart, elegant, and comfortable. Do not take off your shoes in the people party. It's better you carry something and change. Know what you want to drink. And don't be at the party and your face look crunch and you know our shoes are on her, you know. But you're holding it together. Know what you want to drink. Order light cocktails with wine, vodka, or gin as to rum on the rocks. Right? There's no need to rush when you get your drink. Take small quantities. Right? And always be careful that you don't leave your lipstick on the edge. So when we ladies put on all these fabulous lipsticks that they sell us over the counter, we have to be sure you take your finger, put it in the center of your lips with a napkin and just twirl it so that it takes off all the excess lipstick on the inner part of your lip so that when you go to the drink, open your mouth. And if you see the lip print, just try and discreetly clean it off with a little napkin. Now, this is a bistro table. A lot of us go out, and these are everywhere. They have them round, they have them square. You can get them at the private parties, and everybody catch like this because this is our support tree. And we all have weak knees, regardless of the age. Be careful that you know how to catch elegantly. So if you're photographed at any moment, don't just go to sleep on the table. Do not put your big bag on the table. You may put it, if you must, under the table somewhere, but keep your hands free. The next thing which we're also very attached is the phone. The phone is a great tool. I don't know what life was like without the cell phone. But do not let it obsess you. You know, you go to an event and everybody is in the phone. Where's the networking? And the phone is bigger than the cloche or the bag. When you're at an event, you have to put aside, or you have the thing in your ears, and you're having a conversation with the duppies. So how do you network? How do you communicate? Why are you here? You're sending the selfies. I mean, when you go out and it's casual and chirpy, that's okay. But when you go out for business, you have to be prepared to mix, mingle, meet, have the glass in your hand. Yes, you want to hear the phone because without the phone, we feel naked. But you have to devise. You have a little cute purse, your phone in it. If you have to take a peek or you have to send a message or answer a call, the restroom is a great space. Right? All right, before I get to the wines and spirit, I just want to touch on the cups and saucers. You all had coffee breaks outside. Remember now, when your coffee break, your cup and saucer and your teaspoon, please don't do this and don't do this. And don't do any of those things. You have to know how you have your coffee. You're big. So you must know, like them said, 2 sugars, 1 milk. Know your recipe for your coffee. So you don't have to taste it. You don't have to. Do not stick the liquor finger when you have your cup. I can't even do it. Do not. Your saucer goes in line with your chest, the middle of your chest, and it doesn't move up to your mouth. The cup moves. The cup moves. Not this. Not this. Not. And it's the same. So this is a regular cup. And if you go out and you get this, if you order espresso, you're going to get this. And many places in the world, when you get a coffee, we don't understand it's espresso. I remember going to Brazil and asked for hot chocolate, and this is what I got it in, because it was hot chocolate. So be careful where you travel that you stick to what you know and you investigate on your own. Same way, same rule with this cup, up and down. Sometimes we do, because we think we're bougie, we do soup in this, and somebody said, "But I want a cup of soup." Hello, it's a cocktail, it's an espresso of soup. You're just meant to have a mouthful. Right? So this is an espresso cup. Right? We spoke about the napkins before. You get a napkin ring. Do not fling it. Do not talk and do this. Do not put it in your handbag. Do not put it in your hair. Just put it back on the table. Again, your napkin at the corner or in the middle. Tap, 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 and away. You may also get, when you go out these days, a cold rag. Now, when you're traveling business class, first class on the planes, they give you a cold rag. When you go to events, because of the heat, it's a common practice now to get a cold rag. Please do not wipe your face again, do a mini shower, all in them bosom and man in them chest. You just use the rag, you touch your pulse points, you wipe your hands, the waiter or waitress will retrieve it. It is not for you to do a mini cleanup right there. All right? Now, all these glasses, ladies and gentlemen, that have a stem, it don't mean you must go so. It means the stem is for what you hold. The glass have a stem, this is what you hold, red or white. Because when you put wines in, if you put your hand around it like this, you're going to make whatever is in it hot. So it's here. And the red wine in our temperature should be a little chilled because we're not in a cellar in Europe. So a red wine, you may have to chill it down so you get the right flavor. Not that you can't drink it, but it's nicer, slightly chilled. This is a cognac glass. Now, this is the one you stir and you rub because the heat is awakening the flavors of the cognac or an aged rum. right? This is a glass, another version of it, that you'd have liqueurs in, tequila, all the different things. Tequila is happening. Everybody's having shots. So they're shot glasses. This is a beer mug. Some countries you go, some places you go, they don't just grab the bottle of beer. They serve beer on tap. So don't, when you order, somebody said, would you like a beer? Yes. And you're looking now with a bottle. I'm going to see the Heineken bottle come. Even the better brands, they get it on tap. So they give it to you in a Pilsner, in a beer mug, and you hold it by the handle. And don't goggle it down like you would when you get the red stripe. Goggle, goggle. You just have to take generous mouthfuls. This is a martini glass. And, shaken, not stirred. This is the drink of choice. Everybody like to be bougie. You hold it at the base and at the stem. Even men do not. And you don't look effeminate. You just look right. When a man knows how to hold a stem glass, you know you're in good control. He has style. And you drink from the rim. The rim could be decorated, and they give you a straw, things floating. Cocktails are trending. And we're doing, when you go out now, you get lemon cocktail, lavender cocktail. Try and find out what's the ingredient before you indulge. Usually they are coated in sugar, so they're sweet, but they're pretty to look at, and you look gorgeous. You can take a selfie. So just be sure you know what's in the mix. We wanted to bring this forward because there's a lot of talk today about champagne. Not everything that bubbles is champagne. But the making of champagne is done by the same way the Prosecco is made. There's an aeration process. A lot of you watch Amazon and you'll see they have this thing where you can make your own soda. So if you took the wine and put it in that machine, you're going to get Prosecco. But champagne can only be called champagne when it comes from a place in France called Champagne. If it don't come from that region, you cannot call it champagne. They were very smart. Like reggae music should only be called reggae music when it comes from the bellows of Jamaica, but people can make reggae music everywhere. So we did not put the rules and regulation down, but the people who make alcohol did it. So cognac can only be called from cognac in France, and champagne can only be called champagne when it comes from Champagne in France. But the trending item, which is made like champagne, is Prosecco. Prosecco Cava, it's bubbly, it's fun. You can mix it with your juices and things, and that's good. How you do your wine label? If you're into wines, know the one you like. It has the brand name. It has the designation, whether it's a reserve. It has the vintage year it's made. It has the Cabernet Sauvignon, the type. And as you get into wines, Google, YouTube, you'll know that the Cabernet Sauvignon is made up of 2 different grapes. Just like, for instance, you have oranges. You used to have Ortonique and regular, same process. Know your bubbly. Know what you like. Research it. So that when you go out and people say, what would you like? And you said, I'd like to have a glass of Prosecco. You know the brand you like. They may not have it, or they may. Or the waiter, the good waiter will say, we don't have that brand, but this is similar. It's dry, it's sweet, and thing. And remember now, wines are like fruits. You can say if it rained a lot like this year, all the fruit them going to come out not sweet, the mangoes. But if the sunshine and the rain and the climate is right, people say when you get St. Mary black mango, it's sweet like nothing. When you get mango from here, it's not sweet. So that's the same thing that governs the grapes that makes the wine. It's not difficult. It's not your culture, but indulge, read about it. Know your bubbly. As we said, Prosecco comes mainly from Italy, but it's available everywhere. Argentina, Australia, Brazil, in the US. Every wine growing region has a Prosecco. It's trending, just like Demure. And you have all the different brands. They're all out there in the marketplace. Visit the shops, CPJ, supermarket. Buy one every week if you like the bubbly. Know how you like it. and the right temperature. You have the right glass. These glasses are designed to maintain the bubbles. That's why it's a champagne. Versus this one. This one tickles your nose, the older type. This is a newer type. The choice is yours. These beverages are better had in a fancy glass, a right glass. You hold it correctly. You do not hug it. It's meant to be chilled at a certain temperature. It's meant to bubble. It's meant to make you feel good. I guess that's it, Jamie. Sparkling versus still, brandy versus cognac. They offer you water, and you say, when you go some places, they say, would you like some water? And you said, yes, bottled. You have to go a little further. Sparkling means Perrier. Still means what we drink every day in the bottle is still. But then some people like sparkling water. And some countries, you have to say whether you want sparkling or still. Cognac is cognac only if it comes from cognac in France. But brandy is made like cognac, and it comes from all over the world. So understand the two are the same, but not really the same. So Courvoisier is a cognac, but it comes from Cognac Valley in Cognac in France. But you still have other good cognacs, which are called brandies now, that come from all over other spaces in the world. Thank you. Any question and answers? My thing has been very quick. We did lunch. We hung out. We did the napkin. We did the plates. And on one thing, when you sit at the table and you get this plate, it's a charger. Do not eat out of it. I beg you. It is meant to react like a placemat applies to the decor. Some people come to the food line with the charger. No. In our world, plates come in different sizes, shapes, and form. And remember, if you get a plate like this, it's just trending. And don't pull up the plate of food. The middle only, please. Just always only do the first 6 inches of the plate in the middle. Never fill your plate of food. Thank you.
Jackie Tyson, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have any questions? Okay. Checking the microphone.
Mic testing. Hi, good afternoon, Auntie Jackie.
Thank you.
Question, is there a correct way to decline wine?
Yes, you say just no, not now. Thank you very much. You always say thank you very much, but no.
Okay. So what if you turn your glass down?
That is if you're doing a banqueting and you want to, but I would say you could break the glass. Just put your hand every time they come around over the glass.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Jackie, just a quick question. When persons invite, for example, you're having a wedding and you're invited to a wedding, and they usually invite sometimes just the husband or just the wife. Is it appropriate to invite only one spouse, or you have to take both?
That's a tough question. It depends on which side of the fence you're sitting. When people are putting their wedding plans together and their guest list, you remember everything at a wedding is paid per head. Sometimes they're closer to the wife and they're not aware that there's a husband. Sometimes they don't like the husband. And that's the truth of the matter. Sometimes the husband don't like them. So why would you want to go to the wedding? Because it's an event filled of memories. It's always good etiquette, though, if once a person is married, to extend the invitation to Mr. and Mistress. But trust me, when an invitation is designated, like you could get invited to King's House because of the role you play at JPS or Jamaica Broilers or Sagicor. The invite, they only have a space setting because it's under corporate invitation for you alone. They do not know your husband. It's not an event to take a significant other. Like tomorrow, the PSOJ event don't sell out. They may have one seat and your company may send you. But now I go because them invite my husband and diss me, but that's not it. The event only has one seat. When you bring your husband, where they're going to find a second chair and how the chef going to make a second meal. So you have to evaluate it carefully, the role you're playing, why you've been invited, and if due course, you can make an indication if it's possible to take your spouse, because the event planner would have to increase the numbers to accommodate you so you are not embarrassed when you walk in and you're seated and you're looking around and there's no chair for wife or husband. It's very stressful. So understand the role you're playing at the event, why you're invited, and you'll be able to move from there.
All right. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? No? I think we're good. All right. One more time for Jackie Tyson, ladies
you.
and gentlemen, caterer and founder from Thought to Finish. And I need two persons to just sum up her presentation for us quickly. Two persons. I have two giveaways. So we can break it in two because Jackie has been with us since lunch.
Yes.
So if you want, one person can tell
Bread
us
and
about
butter.
the place setting, the bread and butter. And then another can briefly summarize the presentation.
No, come on. Okay.
Who's going first?
Which one are this?
I got another volunteer, you know.
Good.
I might have to ask a third question.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicola Smith from Art NSTH Ross. And could you kindly repeat the first question, please? I was a little bit distracted.
Just give us a summary of Jackie Tyson's presentation, whether during lunch, because we've had her doing a presentation during lunch, or this presentation now after.
All right, so during lunch, she explained how we should use our utensils and glassware on the table, how we should place our napkins, which you should hold it in the middle, and then you pat your mouth, not to wipe your face with it, or to wipe your mouth. She spoke about the bread and butter knife, and you are not to butter the entire bread. You should cut it in different pieces and butter a little piece. Then you gently put a little bite in your mouth, and then you do the same over and over again until it's finished.
Okay, anything about appetizer, main course?
For main course, you use which is the biggest fork on the table, and the knife as well, which is the biggest knife. So it's the main course knife and fork. So your knife should be in your right hand or the right side of the table, and your fork should be on the left. And your dessert fork is placed at the head of the
setting.
The setting, right.
All right, give her a round of applause, guys. Please come on up for your prize. I have a signature gift which will be presented by Jackie for you. Who else is gonna summarize the second part of Jackie's presentation?
Hi, I'm Nikisha Johnson. I'm from Tax Administration, Jamaica.
Hi, Nikisha.
So for the second part of her presentation, she expressed that presenting yourself with grace and finesse, and to walk in a room, you stand up, you make eye contact, and you smile. And that these things will give you the edge over somebody else. Greeting handshake, there are different types of handshakes. And so when you're greeting, your handshake must be firm but not too shaky or grippy. She said, dress the part. If you're going somewhere, look the part that you're going to do. Sealing the deal over a meal. She spoke about that as well, that most of the business arrangements or agreements are done over a meal, and that's where you will seal the deal based on your presentation, how you take control of your environment when you walk in, and how you present yourself at the table with the etiquette and all of that. She also spoke about quite a number of things.
No, you wrote a whole book.
Yes, I took notes.
No, I think I can give her the prize by
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
you
All
can,
right,
you
give her a
can.
round of applause for me, please. Come on up for your prize. Jackie, please assist us with these presentations. Courtesy of Celebration Brand. Thank you so much for participating and for listening. And of course, thank you so much to the CEO, caterer, and founder from Thought to Finish, Miss Jackie Tyson, for enlightening us this afternoon. And I'm sure we learned a lot, right, ladies and gentlemen? So many things. And if imagine we just got a 3-course meal this afternoon, imagine when you get a 10, right? We're gonna have to, or a 6, right? We're gonna have to start practicing. Courtesy of Celebration Brand. So we're almost ready for our 5th session, which will be all about personal mastery, living in balance, enhancing self, and the etiquette of managing on-site and online meetings. And our presenter will be coming all the way from Barbados. She's the current chairman and director of the Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business and Management, where she transformed the school into a premier Caribbean business education center, ensuring program relevance and financial sustainability for over 2,000 regional executives. She holds degrees from George Washington University and the University of the Virgin Islands and specializes in organizational development, strategic planning, and corporate governance. She also serves on several boards in Barbados, including Sagicor Financial Corporation, and has presented at global conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and let's welcome Dr. Janine Comer, who will be speaking on personal mastery. And of course, she is a leadership, personal mastery, and organization development coach, and a lot of titles as well. So please listen up and make her feel welcomed.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. And one of the critical pieces about me that you may have forgotten to add, or you didn't know that you should have added it because it's not on my resume, but it's a significant part of Janine. I have a Trinidadian accent, but I was born in St. Vincent to a Barbadian mother and a Trinidadian father, and now I live in Barbados. So I consider myself a regionalist. And as a result, I also am an avid carnival body. And I'm talking about Trinidad Carnival, of course. I mean, there are carnivals all over the region, but I'm really talking about Trinidad Carnival. Okay. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? I'm not hearing. How are you? I know you had a wonderful lunch, so don't tell me that, you're taking a little break now. Hello? How are you? Okay.
Dr. Comer, can you hear us now?
I can hear you. No, I'm not hearing. No, let me hear.
Oh, well, we have responded. Everyone is doing well. We're doing great. but we don't all have microphones.
Oh, okay. But that's true, right? Yes, thanks. I wasn't thinking of that. Yeah.
No
Okay,
problem.
but thanks a lot. Yeah. All right. I want to ask a couple questions, and yes, I understand the challenge of perhaps not having the microphones. And I'm going to assume what you say, even though I ask the questions. So, my first question is, what has changed? If someone wants to go near to the microphone and say what has changed, I would appreciate that. What is change? Is anyone moving towards the mic? Hello? No? What has changed?
Asking
Yes.
for a volunteer.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm
Thank you.
gonna help you, Dr. Koma. 1 second.
Okay. I don't mean to keep you busy running up and down with the mic. So I'll stop my questions in a minute.
Good afternoon.
Good
I would say it's
afternoon.
something new or different.
To be new or different. Okay. Anything else? Since you were so kind as to come and take the mic, I appreciate that. So don't move. I'm not asking you difficult questions. All right.
I would say it's the action of doing something differently or the process.
Okay.
We have one more person.
Yes. Okay. Thank
Afternoon.
you.
I would say it's a diversion from the norm, what used to be.
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. The diversion from the norm, what used to be. All right. So I listened to this entire conference all day. I was quite intrigued by it. And I must thank, my good friend, Dr. Jackie Coke Lloyd, for such a remarkable undertaking. Congratulations. And what I want to pose now to the group, given the phenomenal sessions that you had today, which are very unusual, they were unusual and then packaged together, I thought that this is, in fact, a phenomenal conference. Is different. And I will say, Dr. Coke Lloyd, maybe you need to package it and pack your bags and go south, because everything that has been shared today could be shared in many other Caribbean countries and would be as relevant there as it has been today. It is, in fact, all of the areas that you would have covered are so very important and needed throughout the Caribbean region. So thank you, Dr. Coke Lloyd. And yes, let's talk about how we could pack those bags and go south. All right. So we learn to master ourselves by getting out of our own way. I like this as a starter. Not yet. I'm not ready yet. Thanks, Kirk. Thank you. I like this as a starter because too often when we talk about change, we become fairly timid because we are not sure what that new dispensation may look like. But I'm sure that based on what you would have done today, that many of you can say that you have learned a lot, and so therefore can create a lot of change for yourselves. Am I correct? Just say yeah and raise your hands. That's okay. I am sure that many of you can use a lot of what you would have learned today. But then there may be some of us that would say that, well, I'm not really ready because I don't know what that all means and how I will be able to really institute some of the change. So what we want to talk about then, going forward, is the whole question of self-mastery and personal mastery. Because I am sure that all of the information that you garnered today is so very important as you continue to chart your professional lives and your professional development. And so what you then have to focus on is how I do this. And how I do this first, starting where? With me. So you need to get out of your way. In other words, don't block yourself. Thank you. You need to learn to master yourself by getting out of your way. I heard a number of the presenters today talk about, no, don't do that. You shouldn't do X or you shouldn't do Y. And there are lots of things that some of us may not have recognized that we should not have done. And we were merely doing it going along our lives. But we were getting in our way. And we don't only get in our way, but we get in other people's way as well. And particularly if we have children and we don't know differently, we're also getting in their way. So what we want to focus on today is to, in a sense, pull a lot of what you would have learned today and experienced today to talk about how you can use all of that valuable information as you go about building personal mastery. You go about developing yourself. You came here to this conference today. Some of you may have been sent, but I am sure most of you had the desire to come because you felt it was something that you could learn. And I'm sure you all have learned abundant information. Am I not right? Let me hear you. Yeah, okay. Wonderful. You have learned a lot. And you know, learning does not stop at the time that a facilitator or a lecturer or someone would have given you information. It's about how you use it. And it is not how you use it now so that you could get a prize. Some of you used it just now and throughout the day, and you got prizes, but that's not the purpose alone. Getting the prize is wonderful because it makes us feel wonderful. It makes us feel that we have achieved something, and you have in fact achieved. But going forward, the whole question of personal mastery and self-mastery is what needs to take precedent. So let's look at what is personal mastery. When you have the ability to control yourself in any situations, in all situations, and you move forward consciously and steadily towards your goals. So in terms of change, if I go back to using the word change, I'm saying that a lot of you would have experienced new and divergent things today. And what you want to be able to do is to use those things so that you will achieve personal mastery. You know your purpose and you have the self-discipline needed to do things in a deliberate, focused, and honorable way. You have the determination, the fact that you came here today and that you stayed throughout the program, that you ate some joyous meals, whether they were it was the break or it was lunch. And you should feel fortified in very many ways. Fortified not only with what you would have consumed as food, but fortified by way of all of the information that you would have garnered, sorry. And I'll say to you, some of the things, as much as I am traveled, as much as I am very much older than many of you, as much as I would have had different kinds of experiences, a number of the things that were shared today were different and new. And so what you also want to be able to do, once you are able to master what you would have learned today, and so therefore practice, what you want to be able to do is to share it with others. Change, knowledge, information is no good if we hoard it to ourselves. Some of the great people around this world, including our Caribbean, and I am a strong Caribbean person, we have learned a lot, but they have also shared a lot with us. And what we have to learn to do as young people, as men and women in this region, be it Jamaica or anywhere else, or anywhere that you go to, as a matter of fact, is to share what you have learned. All of your presenters today have generously shared what they know and what they have learned. And the way we grow and develop is not to hoard what we know, which is why it said at the beginning, you all remember, how many of you remembered what it said? Kirk, don't show them. Let me hear how many of them remembered. But I know they don't have mics, so I'll spare them. We learn to master ourselves by getting out of our own way. So we need to start, first of all, getting out of our own way. Embrace all that you have learned today and will continue to learn today, because that is what makes you a product of personal mastery and also helps to build your companies, to build your communication, your communities, to build your families, to build your country, to build our region and further afield if we have time and energy. But the important thing is that we need to recognize that change is there for us to acknowledge and to utilize. What we have to do, however, is make sure that we master getting ourselves out of our way. So, as we move on, there are 7 steps of self-mastery. 7 steps of self-mastery. The first, I'm not seeing the top. Okay. Can anyone see the top? Okay. I'm using the wrong clicker. Okay. Too many things on the desk. All right. So the first is take. Take responsibility of your life. And I'm sure 99% of you in the room take responsibility of your life. But I want to put it in context of developing self-mastery, that you have to take responsibility of your life. And as we go on a little further, I will tell you why I pay so much attention to that. We have to know ourselves. We have to know and understand who we are and what we bring to the table. I don't just mean the dining table or the conference table. I mean generally in life. Explore the present. Clean up our lives. If we feel that we are not achieving what we should be achieving or what we want to achieve, spend some time cleaning up yourself, cleaning up your life. You may not want to do it on your own. You may want to seek support. And there are very many avenues through which you could seek support. Live from the heart. Live from the heart. Not from the peripheral. Start at the heart. Decide what you want. And as I look around the room, I see lots of you are young people. And there's a lot of opportunity ahead for you, using all that you would have garnered today, including, if you would take my suggestions in terms of helping you to achieve self-mastery and personal mastery, is to decide what you want. And you are the only person that could decide what you want. And a number of the presenters talked about the whole way you present yourself that helps you to decide how you are going to demonstrate what you want, who you want, and what you want to end up being. Empower yourself. Empower yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to do what you do now, which I'm sure you do very well, but what you want to do exceptionally well. There's no full stop. There's no bus stop in terms of our ability to develop ourselves and utilize personal mastery. Okay, so we have 5 effective strategies to cultivate self-mastery. 5 effective strategies to cultivate self-mastery. It's not something we buy in the supermarket. It's not something we eat every day. It is something that we have to work on ourselves to develop. We are the champions of cultivating self-mastery for ourselves, putting again, and I'm saying it over and over, putting together all that you would have learned today and will continue to learn for the rest of the day. Put it all together, use it. reflect on your inner being. That's the first strategy. Reflect on your inner being. Yes, I'm giving you homework. I'm giving you homework, but you know something? The homework just doesn't last for one night. The homework is a continuous process. It's a process you have to decide you want to invest in and continue to invest in it. Let go of the pains of the past. We all have pains of the past, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just a few of us that are inflicted with the pains of the past. All of us. All of us. But you know, again, psychologically, we have to decide where we want to go, what we want to do, and get rid of some of the past. Now, it's easier said than done. Admitting it's easier said than done. But we have to start somewhere. And if we don't start, we never get there and we never achieve what we want to do in totality. I am sure most of you would say, well, Janine, I've achieved a whole lot of what I want to be already. And I'm sure you have. And I am challenging you and saying, yes, I'm sure you have. But you know, keep on trucking. Keep on trucking. Be mindful of the present because you can't go to the future if you're not mindful of the present, what you have been able to do and how well you would have been able to do it. So you want to give yourself kudos for what you have already been able to achieve. Remove temptations, and they're always temptations, all kinds of temptations. There may be temptations that we know are not good for us, not good for our health, not good for our reputation, not good for our jobs, not good for our families. A whole lot of temptations may exist. And what we need to do is to remove them. And it is easier for me to say, yes, remove them. But you can't remove them all at once. You can't remove it sometimes, a temptation, all at once. Because what we have to do is constantly be reflecting on our inner being, letting go of the pains, be mindful of the present to help us to remove whatever temptations we may have and create powerful habits. The habits may be very simple. You may decide, well, I want to become X. And what I need to do is read more about becoming X's. I haven't been doing it. So I'm going to create a powerful habit of reading and helping me to develop whatever my point A strategy is. So in terms of these effective strategies to cultivate self-mastery, you will notice it's all about what you have to do. I can stand up here and talk for the rest of the afternoon, you know, because I love to old talk. I love to talk. Ask Dr. Coke Lloyd, she would tell you, yeah, Janine likes to talk. And I like to talk particularly to younger people like yourselves, because I want to say to you that many of us have traveled the road in order to achieve self-mastery. We may not be there in its finite context, but we have been able to walk some of these strategies. And it does take time, and I want to suggest to you to think about it. Think about it and keep moving. Okay, all right? Next slide, please. Okay, the next slide talks about self-actualizing people. Those who have come to a high level of maturation, health, and self-fulfillment have so much to teach us that sometimes they seem almost like a different breed of human beings. This was stated by Abraham Maslow about self-actualizing people. And what we want to try to help you to do is to consider self-actualizing. You have to attain self-actualize to attain a whole lot more success in life. Okay, can I see the next slide, please? Thank you. All right. How can we enhance ourselves? There are 12 self-mastery secrets. Accept your resistance. Sometimes we see things that are good, but we resist for some various reasons that we don't know. We're not clear what they are and how they will impact us. And sometimes we see the negative, how they impact us, more than seeing the positive. Create a compelling vision. As I said earlier on, think of where you want to go. Think of what you want to do. Think of who you want to become. Commit to long-term practice. That is very important. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 1 month. It is a continuous process. And for many of us, we may still be on the process. It's a continuous practice. Expect backsliding. In other words, you may achieve 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden you begin to feel as if, no, I shouldn't go forward. Let me go back. That may be better for me. It may not be better for me, but it is that you got sidetracked. Something that may have said, let's go back. Live by the principle of moderation. Lighten up. Lighten up. Okay, moving along. All right, this is lovely. All right, moving along. Set mini, go back, please. Set mini goals. Cultivate physical and mental energy. Be honest with yourself. Establish empowering rituals. Consistently establish good habits. And craft your plan for self-mastery. And a good practice, I would say, when you look at these 12 secrets, if you will, if you have a spouse, a parent, a child, a sibling, a friend, or so on, that may be going a similar goal or orientation with you, bounce things off of. Bounce things off of them. How am I achieving what I want to achieve? Don't lock yourself away and feel that it is only something that you can do and you can do alone by yourself. You have to take responsibility, but at the same time, you may want to seek out assistance to help you as you move along. Okay, this is another quick one that I want to share with you. The individual has always had to struggle from being overwhelmed by the tribe. To be your own man or woman, and it's a man that wrote it, so that's why they said man. To be your own man is hard business. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened, but no practice is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. You remember what we said at the beginning? It's not too high to own yourself. Okay, next slide, please. I'm going to skip these slides that I had on etiquette because a lot of it has been covered today in very many ways. It's the social norms and expectations. Let me just finish that. Yeah, okay. The first one, please go back. Thanks. Yeah, go back. Yeah, right. The social norms and expectations around how to behave in various interactions in society. That's basically what etiquette is. And very many of the presenters today talked about that and gave you specifics about very many areas. So I want you to wrap this around what we're talking about. I know you talked about it this morning, but I want to wrap the whole question of etiquette around the whole question of personal mastery. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Do etiquette what it is. What is it? Continued. These norms provide a code of conduct and a structure that suitably regulate the expected attitudes, behaviors, and manners of all members of society. And you know, I heard one or two of the presenters talk about when you turn up for a job or when you are interacting with people that you may want to obviously have them look at you for a job or a promotion, as the case may be. Everything that has been said, you have to pack it into the whole notion of personal mastery so that it is evident to whoever you want to pay attention to you and notice you for what you have to contribute. Okay? Moving along, we can skip that one. And I'll go to why is etiquette important? Etiquette is important because it establishes a set of social norms and expectations that help individuals interact with each other in a respectful, considerate, and appropriate manner. The one thing that I do not like about the Caribbean region, and I'm not saying is about Jamaica, but it is about most Caribbean countries, when we know people well, we feel that we can be shoddy in the way in which we interact with them, sometimes in front of a whole bunch of people. You could go into a business, and because I know you well, because I know Cook, I say, man, Cook, man, change that thing for me now. Well, yes, but Kirk is a partner with me on what I am doing. And I need to speak to him in a manner that he is a partner with what I am doing. And too often, we do not recognize that what we are doing is, in a sense, not practicing effective etiquette. Okay? Moving along, please, Kirk. I think we went through these already for the day, so I don't think I need to go through them again, but they're the rules, okay? So the concepts of personal mastery, living in balance, enhancing self, the etiquette of managing oneself, these harmonize quite effectively with emotional intelligence. And I know a lot of you know about emotional intelligence. Let's go to the next slide, please. You know about emotional intelligence. Well, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of the people around you. I want us to belabor on this point. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of the people around you. This helps you to achieve personal mastery. If we are able to understand and manage our own emotions and those of the people around us. People with a high degree of emotional intelligence know what they are feeling, what their emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect other people. And oftentimes it can affect other people negatively. Moving right along, please. Daniel Goleman, a founder of Emotional Intelligence Services, he says the people who will become leaders, and I know if you're not leaders right now, you're aspiring to get there. The people who will become the star performers, you perhaps star performers now, but you want to get to even higher range, are the ones who have the strengths and the key emotional intelligence abilities. Ladies and gentlemen, some people don't acquire the whole notion of personal mastery and emotional intelligence until they are quite old. So keep working at it. It is attainable. Both of them are attainable. They go hand in hand, and you have to work at it. Okay? Next slide, please. There's 7 laws of emotional intelligence. And then there's one more slide that I will share with you after that. The 7 slides of emotional intelligence. And the number 1 is the one I love the most. I am responsible for my feelings. Too often in life, we blame other people. Sometimes we're not even cognizant of what we're doing, that we are blaming other people. But what I want us to do is, if you don't do it right now, is to begin to take responsibility for your own feelings. Number two, I am responsible for my own behavior. You know, little children, when they do something naughty and there's another little child that they're playing with, they say, well, Janine made me do it. Well, Janine didn't make you do it. You are responsible for your own behavior. I always have choices about how I respond to situations, events, and people. I always have choices. No one can make me upset, angry, or happy. Identifying my choices empowers me to take a fresh look, to start, to go back to where we may need to get rid of some things, go back. Don't always assume that we are at the end zone. Recognizing my range of choices is an excellent way to start changing my behavior. Cognizance of who we are, what we do, how we behave, how other people see us, and where we want to go. I can practice and learn how and more effective behaviors. So don't always feel you are where you will be, but you can be if you work at it. And I want to skip a slide, Kirk, and go to the difference between manager and leadership. All of us are managers. All of us may or may not be leaders, but there's a difference. And I want to show the difference, because I'm sure some of you, if you're managers, you're aspiring to become leaders. And so as we talk about emotional intelligence and personal mastery, we say, and I'm going to start on the right hand with managers. Managers have groups of people who happen to work with them and work together. They send people on training courses, not this one, if there is time. And some companies will tell you if there's money. Recognize poor performance. Managers recognize poor performance. They have targets to meet, and they keep power to themselves. On the other hand, leaders build high-performance teams. They develop their people. They recognize and reward achievement. They have a vision and a mission, and they empower their people. Why did I put this up? Because if we are aspiring to personal mastery and emotional intelligence, we need to understand some of these behaviors. Because if we are in the zone, if we are a manager or want to be a manager, this is not the zone that you need to be aspiring for or to. You need to be aspiring to where you are helping people to develop, where you are helping yourself to develop as well as people to develop.
Dr. Como?
Yes?
Unfortunate. I was just informed that unfortunately we have just about 3 minutes before this session ends.
Okay.
And we still want to have about an additional 3 to 5 minutes just in case anyone has any additional questions.
Okay, let me just do one quick one.
No
Please
problem.
go up to the last slide, please. Yes, thank you. It's knowledge of the self is the mother of all knowledge. I've said this about 3 or 4 or 5 or 20 times. So it is incumbent on me to know myself, to know it completely, to know its minutiae, its characteristics, its subtleties, you know what I mean, and its very atoms. This is by Khalil Gibran, The Philosophy of Logic. Again, going back to where I started, it's about knowing who you are, who you want to be, what you want to become, and determining how you will achieve personal mastery with the aid of emotional intelligence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Dr. Janine, comma, ladies and gentlemen, do we have any questions quickly? Any questions going once? Going twice? No? We're good? She was
Yes.
thorough. Oh, we have one question.
Okay.
Was that a hand around the back? No? All right. So everything was clear, thorough enough for you? Very clear, very thorough. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Como, for joining us all the way from Barbados. Another round of applause for her, please, ladies and gentlemen. Personal mastery and organization development coach, the chairman of Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business, Dr. Como. Thank you so much. So we're almost ready for our final presentation this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do so, of course, I do have giveaways for you. I'm going to give my team just about a minute or two to get the rest of the seats on stage for our panel discussion. But can anyone tell me, all right, I have some questions here, the 5 effective strategies to cultivate self-mastery? All right, wait, I have more questions. Don't worry about it. Sharing is caring. And remember, if you've won already, please don't run, come up, give somebody else a chance. All right, let me hear them.
Reflect on your inner being. Let go of the pains of the past. Be mindful of the present. Remove temptation. Create powerful habits.
All right, give her a round of applause.
Yes.
Please to come on up. And my friend in the red jacket, you were also there. So I would like to hear a takeaway from the presentation or a lovely summary of the presentation of Dr. Como. I do have a prize for you. I'm going to ask my MYMC representative to do the handover. I think it's a book courtesy of Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd, yes? So let me hear your takeaways, your key takeaways from Dr. Como's presentation. Yes, go ahead. Remember to introduce yourself. Tell us where you're coming from.
Good afternoon. I am Lataya Williams-Smith from the Jamaica Defense Force Finance and Accounts Unit. I'm just going to give some self-mastery secrets on how to enhance ourselves.
Sure.
Some of out of the 12 steps is like accepting resistance, create compelling vision, commit to term practice, expect backsliding, live by principle of moderation, lighten up, set mini goals, cultivate physical and mental energy, be honest with yourself.
All right, which one stood out the most to you and why?
Be honest with yourself.
Okay, why?
Because we all
Yes.
have to be honest with ourselves, because with me, I cannot be a fake person. If I have something on my mind, I have to tell you, I cannot be fake, because it's not really showing my true self. So I have to be honest.
Be honest with yourself. All right, give her a round of applause, guys. Come on up for your prize. We're going to have another book courtesy of Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd for you. I do have a gift certificate courtesy of one of our sponsors, Fontana. So can anyone tell me how many Fontana stores are there in Jamaica? How many Fontana stores we have? Is the microphone on?
Check, check, check.
Yes. Remember, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're coming from.
My name is Mayoka Hollingsworth, and I'm representing the Jamaica Constabulary Force today.
No, but it wasn't on.
Okay.
And I think it's 11 stores.
11.
So no.
No, my friend around the back. How many stores we have?
So hi, good afternoon, everyone. My
Why
name
you so
is
nervous? You have friends, you know. We
No,
can
man.
50-50 if you want. Phone a friend, ask the audience. All right, so come on.
So my name is Shana K. Thelwell. I'm from the National Housing Trust.
And my final answer is 7 stores.
7, is she
across the
right?
island.
Yes. When I did my check, I had a different number. Right? So you have to tell me where the locations are as well.
All right, so the first location.
Because
was
I have a different number, but if you can tell me where the extra is,
Manchester.
then yeah.
There are 2 in Kingston. There's 1 in St. Catherine, reach for. There's 1 in St. Anne. There's 1 in Montego Bay. And there's 1 in Savlamar.
All right, yes, come on up. Our Fontana giveaway. Do we have time for one more giveaway? One more? Yes, we have another book. We have another book, right? Yes, we have one more book. All right, final giveaway before our next session. When is the 2025 MYMC Middle Managers Conference? Yes, remember to introduce yourself. You don't reach the microphone, you know. Why? What you doing all the way over there? No, my friend, you're at the microphone. Let me hear from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I think I'm a bit too.
Just remove it.
Yes. So the conference will be in April. It will be from the 29th to the 30th.
All right, you read your pamphlet. Come on up. We have another book courtesy of Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, final call, because after this session, we're going to be doing our final set of giveaways. Have you completed your Jamaica Pegasus Hotel evaluation form? That don't sound too good. Sound like about 10 people out of the couple hundred here. So I'm asking you kindly to just take a minute to complete the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel evaluation form. It's asking about, just your overall experience here at the Jamaica Pegasus. And of course, about the sessions as well. Have you completed the business and personal etiquette network form? Yes, all right. How about the middle managers network registration form? We've all completed those? No, you didn't get that one? Okay. So I'm kindly asking you, just check your packages right now. If there is a form that you did not complete, just complete it quickly. Give it to one of our representatives. And then after this session, we are going to be doing our final set of giveaways. Also, I'm sure that you have been networking all morning into the afternoon. And of course, we do have a prize for the person who have collected the most names, contact numbers, business cards. And if you can, of course, tell us a little bit about somebody new who you have met along the way today. So now it's time to jump into our final session for today. I know that you are all ready to go. The stage is ready? Yes? Stage is good? Yes? All right, so it's all about organization resilience, service excellence, and self-improvement through etiquette. Our moderator this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, is the president of the Press Association of Jamaica and the business content manager for the Jamaica Observer. He's a prominent figure in Jamaican media. As I mentioned, currently serving as the business content manager at the Jamaica Observer. Now, with extensive experience in journalism and media management, he has worked his way through various roles in the newsroom, contributing significantly to the organization's growth and prominence. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our moderator, Mr. Dashan Hendricks. And he's going to be introducing our panelists this afternoon. And of course, diving a little bit more into the topic. So please make him feel welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. We practically, Talia, We still have finished at 4:50? 5 o'clock? All right. Safe to say. All right, that means we have about 45 minutes to finish. All right, I'm going to welcome up here Nicole Campbell Robinson, who is the VP for Communications, Social Media, and CSR at Sagicor Group, followed by Ms. Stacey-Ann Smith, who is the CEO of Danrak Productions, and of course, George Davis. He is the Deputy Executive Editor and the producer at Nationwide News Network. And we're going to be speaking on organization resilience, service excellence, and self-improvement through etiquette. All right. I'm not going to waste any time. We're just going to get into our presentations, first starting with Nicole. And Nicole will be speaking on the topic of digital etiquette and customer care, enhancing professionalism and brand loyalty in the age of technology. Nicole, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dashan. And good afternoon, everyone. We're at the final session. How are we feeling? All right, I'll accept that one. I won't let you stand up and touch your toes because I think everybody's gonna be mad at me. But I'm gonna ask you to bear with me. We have a very exciting and engaging presentation. I'd also like to thank my panelists. We worked really, really hard to pull everything together, and we hope you find this content meaningful. So today, I have the pleasure of talking about digital etiquette and customer care, and specifically how it enhances brand loyalty. So if we could just jump in to the next slide. Thank you very much. But I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the word digital before we start. When you think about digital, what one word comes to mind? You can say it out loud. All right, I heard somebody say online. And I want us to be conscious of that because when we talk about digital, we only think about online. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in my role and with my experience, there's no such thing as offline, even in the online space, right? And so I want you to have that thought in the back of your mind as we go through this presentation, that offline translates or transitions very seamlessly and quickly to online, right? So let's just have that in the back of our mind as we go through this presentation. So let's jump into it. What is digital, if we can go back to, yes, what is digital etiquette? So there's actually a phrase that I discovered. I'm not gonna pretend like I knew it all along. I did not know, but it's actually kind of catchy, netiquette. That's what it's called, digital etiquette. And what does that mean? It's a set of basic rules and guidelines outlining acceptable ways of behaving in online interactions. And there's a reason why I underlined basic, thank you very much. There's a reason why I underlined basic set of rules, right? Because when we're going through this process, and this is a mistake that a lot of brands and companies make, they just slap some definitions and some rules on a piece of paper, right? And they hand it over to the team and they're like, this is how we're supposed to operate. And then a few months down the line, they get into a lot of trouble because they didn't spend the time to define their brand persona, which brings me to the next slide. There's a very critical step. Before we talk about digital etiquette, before we talk about guidelines, there's a very critical step that brands and you as brand owners need to ensure that you adhere to and that is followed and is tested, tried and true, before you even talk about defining the set of principles. And that is understanding and defining your brand persona. And it's a very, I don't want to say it's an easy process, but all you really need to do is to ask yourself this question: who am I as a brand? Because you see, you can't talk about how you want to behave if you don't know who you are, right? Are you a brand with a value system that has integrity? How is that going to show up in the online space? Another mistake that people make is thinking that they can have different personas. How many times have we seen brands that are overly formal in their communication on email, but on social media, they're very casual? Think about a brand as a person. how you act online and offline has to be consistent across the board, right? So your tone, your response times, newsflash. Why do you think everybody always go on Twitter to blast a brand? Because guess what? Them know if them send an email, it's going to be 2 to 3 business days before them gets a response. But best believe when them go on Twitter, somebody going to write them back immediately and slide in the DMs. So everybody wants to go to Twitter because that's where they get the faster response time. So it kind of serves us as brand owners, even when you're thinking about it in a personal way, to define how you want to respond and the platforms that you want to drive the responses to, right? Because some people, some brands utilize Twitter as an avenue to field customer complaints. So how does this all tie into exceptional customer service? And the word I want you to remember here is consistency. So not isolated acts. So we spoke about it before. We spoke about the fact that you need to be consistent across platforms. So you can't be one way in social and one way in email. And one of the points that I want you to consider here, because there are a lot of free or low-cost software available to help you to do media monitoring, because you can't be everywhere at the same time. And so you really need those kinds of tools, and we can talk about it a little bit after, resources to help you monitor across platforms. All right. Oops. So it would be remiss of me not to talk about my own brand, Sagicor. And I'm just going to quickly talk about Sigma. Sigma is an ideal example of a brand that has a clear brand persona. And I wasn't there at the start of Sigma, but Sigma is moving from 5,000 patrons to 10,000 to 15,000 to now 27,000 patrons. And why is that? A lot of Sigma's success, it's not the only factor, but a lot of Sigma Run's success is based on how we've shown up in the digital space, how we've consistently engaged, how we show up as a brand. So I just wanted you to have that in the back of your mind, because consistency is a key word here that I want you to remember. Here is, I think I heard somebody from JCF in the crowd. Is there a table here from JCF or just one person? Jamaica Constabulary Force. Lots of you? Well, I'm happy to say that you are one of my favorite brands. I mean, if you think about JCF a couple of years ago, I think maybe in the last 3 years, they've really spent the time to define their brand persona, and they've been consistent. I mean, I know that Sagicor could never get away with a post like this, but JCF has spent the time to define who they are as a brand, and they're consistent. They never miss a beat, you know. Every trend, every conversation, JCF is right there, and it is so organic for them now. And I really want to commend the JCF team and the communications and social media team. You guys have been doing an awesome, awesome, awesome job. All right. So when we think about building customer trust, and when we think about digital etiquette, we think about the word professionalism, and sometimes we change out that word for being stiff, right? You don't have to give up authenticity when you're talking about professionalism. You can blend both in your digital etiquette guideline. And let me give you a quick example, because I know we're running short on time. So a couple of years ago, some of the big brands, think about them, Flow, Digicel, Sagicor, you would see them have some very generic responses online to customers. Nowadays, you might not notice it. It's a small step, but it's an important step. It's being signed by someone. So with the automated response, you see, for example, DH, Dashawn Hendricks. So you still have the level of automation, but you know that there's somebody behind it that's responding to your query or comment or concern. And that's a very important, a small step, but a very important step in humanizing brands. My last point, before we kind of jump to wrapping up, is testing your crisis plan. And after almost 20 years in various capacities, I can't tell you how important this piece is, because you spend 15 years, 10 years, I don't know how long, to build a brand, and it takes 15 seconds or 15 minutes to destroy it online, right? And so it's very important as brand owners, even when you're thinking about it from a personal standpoint, to do a crisis simulation exercise. And what that means, it means you just lock up everybody in a room, and not one time for the year, but every single quarter, or maybe even monthly, if you have the capacity to do that. You're thinking about the worst possible scenarios that can happen. And you're thinking about what your response would be like online. Because here what? You see, when a crisis happens, let me tell you something, everything got through the roof, right? Nobody remember what they're supposed to do. Everybody is responding. All who never wasn't supposed to respond, respond. And it just gets a little bit crazy. So it's worth spending the time to define and to do those exercises, because you're not going to get everything in one day. You're going to get everything over time. So spend the time to build crisis simulation and crisis response mechanisms into your day-to-day operations. And then I'll just end with a quick brand, Zappos. I didn't even know that I was buying from Zappos, and I'll tell you why quickly. But Zappos has really mastered the art of personalizing thoughtful interactions, right? And I'll just give you a quick example of how they've done that. And if you have the time, there's a lot of material online. Please research it. It's an awesome brand, and they have a great brand story. So Zappos once helped a customer who mentioned that she was buying shoes for her sick mother by upgrading her shipping for free and sending a get well card. That kind of thoughtful interaction fosters deep emotional connections with customers. And just think about it. Remember I told you earlier on, I want you to keep the fact that nothing is offline. When these interactions happen offline, where do you think the customer goes to have the conversation? Online. So you see the ecosystem and how it all connects? You have to be consistent offline and online. And I'll just wrap with some key takeaways. If there's nothing else that you remember from my presentation, please remember these 5 things. Define your brand persona. Be consistent, please, across all platforms. We're not perfect as a brand as yet, but this is something that we're actively working on. With tone and response times. Invest in monitoring platforms if you can. There are free resources online. Test your crisis response and escalation plan. And remember, authenticity is what drives connections online. Thank you very much.
All right, Nicole, before we go to Stacey, just picking up on the last point to make, remember authenticity drives connection. Define for me, in about 30 seconds, what do you mean exactly by authenticity? Is it just being down to earth? How does it match up with professionalism?
Well, it's just knowing who you are. That's simply put, as a brand, knowing who you are. I mean, what serves part or what forms part of your value ecosystem. Think of it as a ball, right? Like on the inside, the core is strong, but you're flexible on the outside. So what are the things? What are your non-negotiables? That's the core. So are you a brand that serves with integrity? Are you a brand that openly communicates? Are you a friendly brand? You really need to spend the time to define who you are and act accordingly, right? So a lot of brands get in trouble, Dashawn, because they are behaving in a way that is not authentic to who they are. You look at them, they're jumping on a trend and it don't match with who they are as a brand.
All right, a nice segue into Stacey, and to refine the conversation, Stacey, mastering the art of impactful communication and elegance. Take it away, Stacey, refine the conversation for us.
Thank you so much, Dashan, and a wonderful afternoon to this great room. I love the energy, and I really hope that you're soaking it all in. Nicole's presentation was great, and I hope that I can leave something with you. So when we talk about refined conversations, you might get to think that, as we often do sometimes in our culture, that this is about being speaky-spokey. Right? And, this is not about Downton Abbey or Bridgerton. So refined, as the name suggests, really is about improving and upgrading, taking what you have to another level. It's ensuring that you assign a greater value so that you can get better outcomes. So when we talk about conversations, it really is about elevating where you are. It's about understanding your stakeholders and masterfully tailoring your message for least resistance. Now, every one of us here is part of a team, and you have to deal with your boss, your immediate supervisor, board members even, and customers. So refined conversation is appreciating that there are nuances. There are ways in which you can land your message. And ultimately for influence, because that's what it's all about. It's about how you get people to agree with your pitch, right, Nicole? You have this great plan and you take it to the senior management meeting. But it's about your ability to convey your thoughts in a way that you're going to get everybody saying, wow, Nicole has a point there, and to win them over. And it's about how you build those relationships over time so that you can be very strategic and effective. When we talk about being effective and impactful in our communications, it's sharing your ideas and feedback, but also getting to ensure that you're building a dynamic team. Most of you would see ads for jobs online, and nearly every single one of them, I dare you to find one that does not say you require effective communication or a good communication. Has anyone in the room ever seen a job ad that didn't say you needed good communication? And there's a reason for that, because good communication is very important for team dynamics. I mean, if you have been at this for as long as Dashan and I have been, if you notice, you see the little bit, the gray hair there, it means you've been around for a while. George don't have any gray hair, but we do.
I'm bald.
I color mine.
Exactly. So if you've been around the block for a little while, you would know, and you probably have been in a situation where the team is not communicating well. So people are sending emails, they're not having conversations, there is no follow-up. And you know what happens? The ball gets dropped. Things fall through the cracks. So in order for you really to be effective, you have to communicate, certainly as a team, in order to get the outcomes that you want from a functional standpoint. Dashan, feel free to stop me at any point if you...
Don't worry, I will.
All right, great. So the right communication skills really do well for your team, and teams that do not communicate well with each other do not do well. And it really is important that you prioritize that kind of building of the skill. Excellent communication skills. I mean, many of us were born with the gift of gab. When you were young, them tell you say enough and you chat enough. Yes? Anybody in the room ever got that as a child growing up? Okay, it's just me one. All right, cool. So whether you are born with that gift of gab or you have a natural inclination to public speaking or standing on a stage and presenting, you should be concerned about showing up well. And showing up well isn't just about wearing a nice suit. I mean, look at George, come on, looking great in his suit. Look at Dashan, you know. It's not just about that. It's about how you present, how you speak, your ability to stand in front of your team members and deliver a great pitch that's going to not just convey meaning to your stakeholders, but also to win them over, because you really want to make your mark and to set yourself apart from the rest of the group, and really to push. If you are interested in moving up the corporate ladder, it's something that's very, very important. I mean, I'm sure if you can think about any one of the persons across different industries or disciplines that you would consider a GOAT, greatest of all time, every single one of them is able to present well. They don't have to present in the Queen's English, but they're able to communicate and engage with others. And so it's very important that you show up well in that way. Just a few areas in which you can show up well. I'm going to run through this really quickly because I'm cognizant of the time. You have to be intentional about developing those communication skills. Invest in it. This kind of setting is a great investment. Find a coach. Find somebody who can help you to articulate well, to help you to overcome the nerves of standing and delivering and presenting well in front of a group. It's also important for you to pay attention to detail. Everybody makes mistakes, but there's a difference between making a mistake and having a pattern of low quality work, of shoddy work. You have to make sure that you're taking the time to go over your presentation, making sure that you're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, and doing the research, making sure that what you are presenting is credible information, that what you've sold to the business isn't something that's not based on facts and data. Paying attention to detail also involves how you carry yourself, making sure that you're always sharp, that, you know, not in terms of just your clothing, but your carriage, how you sit, how you speak, so that you can be admired, because ultimately that kind of admiration also helps others to develop a lot of respect for you. Before you know it, you're an influencer. People are coming to you to ask your opinion about things. Thirdly, always be prepared. It cannot be overstated. Preparation, preparation. Nicole spoke earlier about that crisis plan. It's one of the things that many organizations don't spend enough time doing. And you say, how do you prepare for a crisis when you didn't anticipate it? But a key thing in crisis management and crisis communications, understanding your business and beginning to sit down and look at all of the possible scenarios. What could go wrong here? And beginning to anticipate some of those, and also spending some time to come up with the scenarios. Okay, so if this happens, how do we mitigate against it? Always being prepared. And finally, asking for feedback. Feedback is a gift. I believe it was US billionaire Warren Buffett who said, feedback is a gift. It's like collecting data on your work and behavior, and it's valuable time that someone dedicates to you. Now, we know that not every bit of criticism is constructive, but I want you to listen sometimes, not just to what is being said, but what is not being said. When somebody comes to you, I think most of us are grown in this room, and you can sense when somebody is coming from a place of love and they're genuinely giving you a thought. They say, you know, Stace, maybe you should have done it this way. So accept the feedback, sit with it, assimilate. Sometimes you have to sift through to pull out from that those things that you can adjust going forward. And my final slide is really about artful elegance in the professional space. And when we talk about elegance, it's not only about, as we said, you know, making sure that you're always put together and how you walk, how you carry yourself, your posture, but it's about having good taste and great work ethic. It's about ensuring that when you are in the professional space, you are trying to create an environment that is pleasing. You're striving to create harmony. It's about being affable. And of course, you have to sometimes be assertive, but never discourteous. It's about ensuring that you are passionate without being overbearing, and understanding that ultimately how you connect with people will often determine whether you can be that influencer that you need in order to be effective in your organization.
All right, that's it from you. All right, I have a question for you, and I'm going to read it because it's pretty long. What specific verbal and non-verbal cues can enhance or detract from the elegance and impact of a conversation, and how can one cultivate awareness of these cues in real-time interactions as we refine the conversation?
So I'll just touch really quickly on the matter of body language, because that's an easy point of departure. So, I mean, we could go into a very long session about how you sit. I mean, you're in a meeting and you're talking to others. If you sit this way, it suggests there is interest and urgency. I mean, when we did news, Dashan, you sit forward in your chair and not this way because you seem too relaxed. You know also that when you fold your arms, you are closed off. So you want to keep your arms open. I mean, there is a lot of research that you could do, a lot of data online about how you show up and how you present well in terms of receiving information and sharing. You want to make sure that you maintain things like eye contact with your colleagues and the persons to whom you're speaking, because then it shows that you're genuinely interested. Jackie Tyson spoke earlier about being on the phone and have the something in your ears and talking to the duppy them, and being on your phone and being distracted. Those things can really take away from your ability to engage. And it doesn't have to be that you are the speaker. You could be in a room and everybody knows that, boy, Dashan is forever on his phone. So he's half listening to the conversation. That can take away from your impact. I hope that helps.
All right, but we need to build lasting connections and navigate the tech landscape while managing public reputation. And George is going to take us into that. Building lasting connections, George. How do you build lasting connections while navigating the tech landscape and building and holding on to your public reputation?
Thank you, Dashan. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't. Thank you. The thing is this. The most important thing, I understood fully in about 2004. I was in my penultimate year of university and I was reading the introduction to NCB's annual report for 2004. And Michael Leachin wrote something that stuck with me because in that moment I realized that I never really understood before that the meaning of reputation. And he said that notwithstanding the assets that the bank had and the bank's profile, the bank's most valuable thing was its reputation. And immediately in my mind, I transposed that from a company, NCB, to an individual, myself, or individuals, my friends. And I recognize that, yeah, it's really true. There's nothing you have that is more valuable than your reputation. And so what you do daily is to manage that reputation. Now, the topic I've been asked to handle, complementing what the ladies have spoken about already, building lasting connections, navigating tech landscape, and managing public reputation. It's complementary. There's no incongruence across the three presentations. So here's what I have to say to answer the question. Firstly, I want to give you the idea of thinking of yourself the way companies think of themselves. I always tell my friends that, look, you have to do things that are in your best interest if you're working in an organization, because a company always does what's in the company's best interest. If it's in your best interest and not in the company's best interest, it's not going to happen. So you have to think the same way. If it's not in my best interest, but it's in the company's best interest, I can't do it. If you think of yourself that way, you will find that your output, because you're thinking of yourself as a company and you want to be a point of reference, that your output will match the standards expected of you. And you have to see yourself as an organization doing your work by the rules, doing your work in a manner so that the people around you can extract utility from how you carry yourself, because a company and the employees, the employees benefit from the goodwill that the company has. And so if you carry yourself in this way, you will start setting out that reputation. Now, how is that reputation built? The reputation that you hold is built on your work. Your work also determines the connections that you make. In our business in media and communications, journalists are more some journalists are more successful than others. There's not one single successful journalist or not one successful media house, and I say success not by profit making because it's a tough business, but by virtue of how long you've been in existence. That doesn't depend on people in important areas to be giving you information that keeps you ahead of the game. These sources, as we call them. And how do you cultivate them? You cultivate them on the back of very hard work, on fair work, on people have to depend on you to be doing the work accurately and without fear or favor. Now, I know that as an ambassador for Nationwide News Network, a lot of things are said about us in the public domain, on social media, online. But our reputation, yes, for hard edged news, for being hard-nosed in our interviews, for being people of research. It helps to preserve the connections that have kept us in business for so long. I say this to you, again, as I encourage you to think of yourself as a company. Nationwide in 2005 was a program on Power 106. Yes, it was like a 90-minute program. Today, it's a full-fledged media group with scores of employees and a reputation. We are here in this position because we've built lasting connections. You can ensure that in the upper echelons of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, we have people there who trust us with information. In the government, there are people who trust us with information. In the opposition, there are people who trust us with information. In corporate Jamaica, there are people who trust us with information because over time, we've taken on that information that is shared. We've protected identities and we've reported in such a way that the facts come out and there's no trail back to whomever it is that led us to the information that was published. In doing that, and in doing that successfully over time, and doing justice to the material that is shared with you, and also protecting the source that the information comes from, people speak to people and they say, you know what? This is happening in your organization. Listen, I'm going to give you a number for this guy or this girl or this lady rather at this organization. You can call them, you can trust them, you can share with them. They're going to keep your information private and they're going to do justice to the information that you share. They're going to put work into it. That's the kind of work that goes into building the connections that have lasted for my organization and for other media houses. So if you think of yourself and the positions that you may hold in your various organizations, you have to be someone trustworthy. You have to be someone who the quality of your work suggests that you are not a paper pusher, that you are not there passing time. One of the things that we are not taught as youngsters is to strive to be the best. If you notice, we go to high school or we go to university and everybody walks through the door. Everybody try to fill up the back seats. Nobody don't want to go to the front of the class. Why? Why don't you want to go to the front of the class? That's something that has caused many people to not be able to self-actualize. Coming from, ripping off one of the presentations made earlier about self-actualization. So as an entity, Nationwide 90 FM wanted to be in the front of the class. So we did work that pushed us towards the front of the class. And then we did work that kept us at the front of the class. And then we did work that made people give us the information and continue to give us the information, the insights, the sources, the leaks that has kept us in front of the class. So where technology is concerned, the interesting thing is this. I say to my reporters now when we have production meetings daily that, look, the joy that I have is this. I'm in a position where you go on the streets and you say you represent Nationwide 90 FM and everybody knows where you are from. When I just left university and I was out in the streets and I told someone I was from Nationwide, they said, when name so? And then they had to explain, a Cliffview station, and Cliffview is a radio station, and you had to go into this long conversation. Nobody knew who we were. And so in the early days, a lot of good work was being done, but not many people knew because not many people listened to us on the pop-down AM band, which was frying all the time, or were caught up by the grace of RGR's grace. They put us on the FM band, and we were not island-wide because the signal was weak and everything. And then came YouTube. And all of a sudden, the playing field got leveled, and we saw the opportunity that technology presented for our business. So the issue of not having a space on towers right across the island to give that island-wide coverage to make everybody who was desirous of listening to us being able to listen to us. YouTube now cured all that with Wi-Fi, and the more people had access to Wi-Fi, and the more people could go on Wi-Fi and go on YouTube, they could get our programming. And so we put a lot of resources into shepherding a lot of our programming and our content online in a way that even those who had first mover advantage on us for decades big in the marketplace, they never structured their programs in that way because they were comfortable that you could turn on the radio and listen to them. We never had that comfort, so we had to go online on the YouTube stream, on the YouTube platform, and that's when our listenership ballooned. So you have the 100,000 subscribers, even though a traditional media survey where someone walks around with a piece of paper and see you at your cart selling juice or selling pine, or you're in the street or sell donut or a star, and them ask you which station you listen to, and you said so and so and so, and then that came back into an all media survey and it showed Nationwide way down the totem at 4%. That's a false position because that's from the traditional survey method. As I said, to my team again. There was a particular politician who was burnt by the way we carried a story. And he went online and he said, well, yeah, I don't like the story, but anyway, I just 4% listenership them have. So I made a t-shirt out of it, and we all call ourselves the 4%ers. So I wrote on the shirt, they say only 4% hear, listens, yet everybody hears. Yeah? Everybody listens, everybody hears what we have to say, even though he says only 4% listens. And I say that to say, on social media, navigating the tech landscape. So I've told you that YouTube has been the great leveler. It has removed any encumbrance to people consuming our content. And we were very strategic, as I said early, when the Wi-Fi centers, the libraries and the community centers got outfitted with Wi-Fi. That's when we saw a spike in the number of people who consumed our content, who came to us via YouTube in a structured way that our rivals, some of them still have not gotten to that point. But also on social media, it is tempting when people spread spurious claims about the quality of your work and the motivation for your work, to want to go to social media to meet them, to go toe-to-toe with them on Twitter. I must tell you that there are many journalists who have a very visible presence on social media. I have none, because it goes back to what both these ladies have said, knowing self and knowing who you are and what you are. I know that I can be very combustible, especially in a discussion with someone who I think doesn't have any sense. And so I am not one of those people who is going to argue with you with your username is big black fox, yeah? And you're going to tell me this and tell me that. I will say things that will damage my reputation, so I don't go there and engage. I have no presence on Twitter. So I'm saying, what I do, I ensure that I keep focused. So when it's my airtime, it's my airtime, and I can do things in a considered manner, because I've only been here 19 years, Stacey. 19 years I've been here. 19 years. Hold on. 19 years. And I know that the things that I have built up, the platform that the company has given to me to shelter under its umbrella and to make my own canopy as I go along, those things can be destroyed by injudicious comments on social media, responding to people who are up to no good. And so it is a tip for you. You have to know yourself. Can you take stupid argument from people who hide behind usernames, who can't face you in the way that they know you are John Tom working at Sagicor, they know you are so-and-so working at Danrock Communications, but they hide behind a username and they make statements that Bonnie and you really want to respond? Avoid the temptation, because you and them are not playing on the same playing field, and you can't damage what you have worked to build by being injudicious with your comments. So I say that building lasting connections is all about the quality of your work, nothing else. It's about what you have done, what you have on the table for them to examine. Show me the evidence of what you've done over time. See it here. That's the key, the most important thing. Navigating the tech landscape is about looking at advantages that exist. AI comes now. It is easy for me now to feed into AI all of Mark Golding's statements on the campaign trail so far, all of Andrew Holness' statements on the campaign trail so far. I can do it. I don't need an expert. And I can put up and host a debate between those two using AI to sound like Mark, to sound like Andrew. Those are the tools that are now available to journalists. And it's such a pity that in this age, when there are more tools available to journalists than ever before, journalists are more lazy than ever before. You don't have as many journalists as scholars as you had before, and that's robbing the profession of vital quality. I say that to say you shouldn't let that happen to you in your organization. Technology should be an enhance. And the last thing I say, on managing public reputation, your reputation is hard-earned. Your reputation can, as Nicole said, be gone in a matter of seconds. You have to think 2-3 times if you're in a space where there's something tempting that will cause you to say something that will cause people who respect you to lose that respect for you. It is never worth it, yes? And you have to protect what you've worked so hard to build. It's yours after all. It's yours.
All right, thanks, George, for that. And we have about 8 minutes, and I want to see if I can get in about 1 or 2 questions from the floor before we are kicked out of here, Mrs. Brown. But George, how can leaders balance online presence and reputation management with the need for transparency vulnerability and the genuine connections to the audience.
You can't be on Twitter or social media every day like you're Derek or Rosalie or other the people who live there.
Ooh.
Same thing, yeah? Or Mackerel or one of those people. So if there's something that threatens to put the people who you employ in an invidious position and threatens to damage your brand, you are expected to go onto the forum or into the fray where the misinformation exists to correct that, but to do so only. You're not going there to quarrel with anybody. You're going there to set the record straight. The word I used, you have to be judicious in how you intervene in social media, because social media, as people who are representing organizations, representing brands, managing your individual representation, managing a brand's reputation, you can't bring yourself down to the level of those who quarrel and squabble on social media for a living. And some people get drawn into the tailspin and they damage themselves in the process. So you have to be judicious in what you say. You can't respond to everything. You have to know that where it is that my brand is at stake, my employees are in an invidious position, I need to intervene to set the record straight and let the chips fall from that. That's when you intervene. Otherwise, you stay calm and watch the fracas ensue.
Dashan, can I just add something there really
Go
quickly?
ahead. And I'm accepting questions from the floor if anybody has any, Nicole.
So I like that point from George, because as a brand as well, you can decide where you're present. You don't have to be on all social media platforms. I didn't even know that Beyonce wasn't on Twitter. That was a news flash from me the other day when I was doing some research for her, because that's not where she wants to maintain her image, and she hasn't, her content is not designed for that platform. I'm on Instagram, for example. I'm on all platforms, but I'm most active on Instagram. I'm just making that point that George made because, or adding to it to say that it's true. You have to understand what you have the capacity and the bandwidth for, and you have to ensure that you are going to be able to show up consistently. I'm very careful now about even how I interact on LinkedIn, because people are messaging you and they want an urgent response, and I just can't. So I'm careful when I decide to engage on LinkedIn. I'm making sure that for a long period of time I'm able to respond to comments or likes or even DMs that I might get. So that's I just wanted to compliment that point.
You want to add to it, Stacey?
Also, for organizations, it's very important that you have a media policy that includes how your employees interact, not just with traditional media, but on social media and in the social space. You have to make sure that those rules are very clear from a corporate and a company
But
standpoint.
listen, I want to cut you here because I want to ask you about individuals who might say, my social media platform, my social media angle is my personal thing. It's not the company's thing. How do you respond? Or how do you advise that person to say, Nicole said you can't have different personas?
That's a very good question, Dashan. And how you manage that is with a carefully crafted media policy. So yes, you will have your personal account, but let's say you work with an alcohol brand that's being bashed or a bank that is facing issues. You wouldn't, as John Tom working at Sagicor, see persons online speaking negatively about Sagicor and take it upon yourself to defend Sagicor. That's one thing to consider. Also, for your personal brand, your personal accounts, your policy should make it very clear that you can post all your personal things. But unless it is that you are a spokesperson that is authorized to speak on behalf of your organizations, you shouldn't be speaking on behalf of your organization.
No, I'm talking specifically where as your online presence, you have a different persona than your presence at work, or if you have different social media angles, one personal, one with the workplace, how you manage them. Some people say my personal is my personal, I'll do whatever I want to do on it.
So if you do that at your own peril, Because the truth is, and if there are hiring managers in the room, they will tell you that one of the first things they do when they're reviewing candidates is look at what your social, your online footprint is.
Yes.
So there is no separation between who you show up
have
as
different
at
personas.
work. Exactly. You cannot be schizophrenic. You cannot be out there with yourself, doing all kinds of things with yourself, hanging out, and then you come in your business suit and you are professional. People pay attention to how you show up, and it is going to be considered or assumed that this person that you're showing up with on your personal page is who you really are. So you're gonna lose credibility if you don't make sure that you are maintaining that consistency that we keep talking about. And to George's point, you really have to avoid keyboard gangsters, as I call them. There are many people who would never have the courage to say to your face what they're saying online. And you have to just appreciate that they are cowards. That's exactly what they are. And once you begin to argue with them, you may just, nobody might know which one is the fool. So you have to just avoid that as far as you can.
All right, everybody, it's 5 o'clock right now, and we're finished here, and we'll hand over back to Talia.
One more time for our panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I had one additional question for George specifically. What's going on for your socks?
So you see, my team kills me about my socks. What is a pair of socks? A left foot and a right foot?
You remember Punky Brewster?
Yeah. a pair of socks is a left foot and a right foot. Thank you.
All right. So, George, if you could transpose into the persona of our Prime Minister, how would you have handled his image under the umbrella of protecting while promoting it?
You got Jamaica House?
No. Listen, so protecting while promoting it. And you choose the Prime Minister. Oh God.
They specifically said the Prime Minister. However, I think you can just focus on protecting while promoting instead of focusing on the Prime Minister.
Yeah, right. So it goes back to the person's reputation. What is that person known as? What are the key things that those who like the person say they like about the person? Then you stress those qualities, those virtues, those characteristics. You have to press them. Protecting now, you can protect two ways. You can protect by attacking, or you can protect by defending. You can protect by saying that the negative things being said about him are all lies. Those who are saying the things that they're saying about him that are negative are bad mind and they want to see him gone for whatever reason. That's how you protect, by attacking. You can protect by defending, which is to say, listen, yes, we understand that there are legitimate questions being asked. We accept that these things are troubling to some people, and we have submitted ourselves to a process that will, at the end of the day, advance a determination that we can draw a conclusion one way or the other. But for now, we are just focused on working. So you see, that is a more conciliatory stance. You realize that the person is in a difficult spot and you are taking your time. You're not being overly aggressive in how you protect. But you promote the hell out of the person's virtues and you try as best as possible to let the person speak for themselves. One of the mistakes that we make, especially for people in public office, you can't make spokespeople speak for top leaders. They have to speak for themselves, because at the end of the day, especially for a prime minister, people in, say for instance, somebody in Northwest State and who don't even know who the candidates are when nomination day come. They're voting for either Andrew or they're voting for Mark. They want to hear Mark speak for himself. They want to hear Andrew speak for himself. Less of the spokesman and the spokeswoman, them not really count.
All right. A round of applause one more time for our panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I'm going to release you all. Mr. Dashan Hendricks, Miss Nicole Campbell Robinson, Miss Stacey Ann Smith, and Mr. George Davis. Thank you so much for sharing all that insight, all that information, and of course, enlightening us this afternoon as we close out for our final session, ladies and gentlemen. I have a final set of giveaways for you. I do have some gift baskets courtesy of Sagicor before I invite Dr. Jacqueline Coke Lloyd to greet us and give us some closing remarks. So, can anyone tell me, you've been here all day, what is the theme of the conference for today? Easy breezy. What's the theme? Just head on over to the microphone. Tell me what the theme is, and I'll give you a gift basket courtesy of Sagicor. Yes, let me hear you. In the red blazer, you were first.
Okay, so the theme for the conference is business and personal etiquette conference. No?
No.
I'll go.
All right.
I'll go. Okay.
Who was first?
I was here.
All right. Let me hear you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Kimon Campbell from Jamaica Flour Mill.
I have two more questions in two more gift baskets. So let's go, guys. We want to leave. I know it's after 5. No, it's after your work hours. Let me hear you.
Organization resilience, service excellence, and self-improvement through etiquette.
Yes, that is correct. Congratulations. Come on up. Still on the topic of Sagicor, who is the CEO of Sagicor? CEO. Have you won a prize already? Yes, in the orange. No. Oh, okay. All right, go ahead.
Christopher Zaka.
Christopher Zaka, come on up for your prize. All right, can anyone tell me what's the tagline for Sagicor? I mean, it's Sagicor gift basket, so I think it's only right. Tagline for Sagicor. Anybody? If you've won already, give somebody else a chance. All right, let me hear you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chrisanne Mills from Jamaica Boilers. It is wise financial thinking for life.
Wise financial thinking for life. Come on up for your prize. So we did 3 gift baskets from Sagicor. I'm also going to do the final gift basket from Celebration Brands. We've had a very, very exciting day. I just want anybody now to go to the microphone and tell us the highlight of your day, what you have learned, what you will take away, what you will instill moving forward. Just make sure you haven't won already. All right, go ahead.
All right, so the highlight for me is building your personal brand, knowing who you are, and be genuine and true to yourself always.
All right, how you plan to instill that moving forward?
All right, so improving myself in areas where I know I have weaknesses and to build on my strengths that I have.
Build on your strengths. All right, give her a round of applause, guys. I think I have a gift certificate from The Essentials, so I'll allow you to also share your takeaways from today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sandra Campbell is the name. I am from Otorius, Zoe's Caribbean Pre-Preparatory School. One of my main thing really is the 7 laws of emotional intelligence. And I would want you to say this after me because I would want you to take it for your takeaway as well.
All right.
I am responsible for my feelings. I am responsible for my behavior. I always have choices about how I respond to situations, events, and people. If we have these in our back of our minds, we will not blame people for our downfall. All right? Thank you.
All right, come on up for your prize, courtesy of The Essentials, one of our sponsors here. All right, so we have been asking you, I'm not seeing Dr. Coke Lloyd at the moment. I think she's outside taking a few photos. So let me just wrap up all the giveaways before she comes back in. So we'll just finish up once she gets in here. We've been asking you to network all day, right? Let me see how many persons received 15 contact numbers or business cards. Okay, can anybody beat 15? How about 20? Okay, how about 25? All right, how about 30? 35, 40. 40, can anybody beat 40 names? Contact number, contact information, whether your email address. Nobody can beat 40. 40 going once, 40 going twice, 3 times. Come on up for your prize, my dear. And how many you have? But you're sitting at the same table. How you never hear me going once, going twice? You have 74. Oh, wow. Oh, come on up. And guess what? We are giving her a spa gift certificate courtesy of the Jamaica Pegasus. So come on up for your... I need to see your paper though, because I have to clarify, right? I have to do the balance and checks, yes. I have to make sure. So let me see your paper. And I also want you, because I encourage persons to meet and greet, not only get the name and the contact numbers, but to find out something about somebody who you've just met. So you collected how many names?
74.
74 names, contact numbers, the contact details. Who did you meet today? What did you learn about them?
Miss Petrona Blackwood. She works at the JCF and she has been there for 19 years.
Whoa, give her a round of applause, guys. She has been networking all morning. I'm going to invite my representative from MYMC to do the presentation. And she will be relaxing at the spa right here at the Jamaica Pegasus. Yes. What is your name? Joan. Joan, give Joan a round of applause again, guys. Joan, when last have you been to the spa? A long time. I know you're looking forward to it, so enjoy yourself. We do have 2 more giveaways. I see Dr. Coke Lloyd has rejoined us. And I'm going to randomly select names from the boxes based on just the evaluation forms that you have completed. And this is for the opportunity to win a Yasso Fitness gift certificate. So, you guys still have those evaluation forms? What are you doing with them still? It's 5 o'clock now, you know? No. All right. So what I'm going to do, Matthew, can you just, while Dr. Coke Lloyd closes off, can we just collect the rest of them quickly? Right? Yeah, man, I'm going to pick after we collect the final, because it seems nobody else dropped in their evaluation forms. So, Matthew, I'm going to ask another representative to assist so that we can drop them in the correct boxes. And I'm going to invite Dr. Coke Lloyd in the meantime to just come and give us her closing remarks. And then after that, we will give away our final 2 prizes. So please make her feel welcome one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We've come to the end of the day. Wow, hasn't it been a good day? Yeah, I enjoyed it. Even if you didn't, I did. I had a good time. And I'm happy that most of you have stayed. And I thank you all for coming. And I'd like to thank Talio. Talio always keeps us so engaged, and you know, she's my second daughter. But thank you, Talia. You're always here for us. I'd like to thank all our sponsors. You've seen them being promoted all day, and they're the backbone of who we are, what we do, because without them it wouldn't be possible. Because most of you know it takes a lot to put on this kind of event, and we try to bring it to you at an affordable rate, and it is with the help of our sponsors. So we'd like to thank our sponsors who have been with us for the last 3 years with this brand, and of course with our middle managers brand as well. We'd like to thank our presenters, and they showed up today, and I think they delivered. and they gave a lot of nuts and nuggets for us to use. So please go back and share it with all your team members, your leaders, your organization, for your personal life, because it's really just wholesome information that you can use. I'd like to thank the Make Your Mark team. Without them, it would not have been possible. And many of them are young. Every year we try to bring in the university students because they also need the training and the experience. So I'd like to thank the temporary as well as the permanent staff who worked really hard, and they were here from, well, they stayed overnight, but they've been down here from 6 o'clock this morning. So thank you, team. I'd also like to thank our AV team on the back, Visual Tech. Thank you so much for pouring us up for the last 14 years? Yeah, 14 years. They've powered all our conferences. Thank you, guys. I'd like to thank Main Event for the screen and for being part of the network as well. Hope I haven't left off anybody. Thank you, our photographers, our social media team. They're keeping us happy and just sending out really positive messages on the conference. But I really hope that you have enjoyed it and you have learned so much that you will go back, share it, and prepare other tools for your organization. This is just to help you along. But I find that when we look at the simple things like etiquette, that's what drives our lives and helps us make conscious changes. And when we change behavior, that behavior translates into so many other things. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having us. And I'd like to thank the Pegasus. They went above and beyond, and they've been very helpful, they've worked hard for this particular conference. And we got in early yesterday. Normally we're here until 3 a.m. to set up, but we got in early yesterday to set up. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and I want to see you have a good Christmas.
All right, Dr. Coke-Lloyd, I have them in my hands. As you can see, I'm trying to just shuffle up. I'm not looking. I'm going to select two persons. Two persons. Okay. Is Chantel Hunter still here? If you're not here, you can't win it all. Chantel Hunter going once? Chantel Hunter? No? All right. This one has no name. All right. Sanika Williams. Is Sanika here? Sanika is not here? All right. All right, let's try again. Boy, it's harder than I thought. All right, it's T Green. I don't know who is T Green. T Green, what's your first name? Why you didn't put your first name on it, T? Tashana, all right, come on up, Tashana. You're one of our winners. Yasso Fitness gift cert. And we have one more person I'm going to try to take from the back now. Let's see. No, but I can't read this. No. The last name look like Manners. Huh? No, I can't read the writing. Yes, Noel Madden. You're so right. Noel, I feel like we need to have a discussion about your handwriting, Noel, this look like him writing a chemistry. This look like NOC2. Yeah, or, oxygen, like a nitrogen and oxygen. MANN. This look like nitrogen, oxygen, and manners. But Noel, come for your prize. Give them a round of applause for me, guys. So congratulations to you. Come on up for your prizes. Of course, we want to encourage you, our representative from MYMC. Can you take the gift certs for Yasso for us, please? Yasso Fitness. both of them. And we want to encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, to follow Make Your Mark on all social media platforms at Make Your Mark, right? Please encourage your friends as well. If you enjoyed the conference, your co-workers, your colleagues, just encourage them to stay in touch, get in touch, stay in touch, and check out all the additional conferences that will be coming up. We have more etiquette conferences. We have the Middle Managers Conference coming up next year. 2 days of lots of interactive sessions, lots of giveaways as well. And it's just a very, very informative 2-day period. So ensure that you look for Make Your Mark on all social media platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it, Facebook as well. Follow, like, subscribe, check it out. And of course, we hope that you enjoyed the day and you will take all the information that you have received today and you will continue to grow, to thrive, and to strive in your respective fields. So my name is Talia Suarez Brown. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and get home safely.